Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, prayer or moment of silence? Okay, Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided indicating the time and place of the meeting in accordance with Chapter 231 of the Public Laws of 1975 by advertising a notice in the Star Gazette and the Express Times and by posting a copy on the bulletin board in the municipal building. Roll call, please.
Yes. Councilman Del Caro.
Here.
Councilwoman McCabe.
Here.
Councilwoman Schneider.
Here.
Council President Chesler.
Here.
Mayor McKay.
Here. Katrina, you have a...
Sure. Council is in executive session for approximately 40 minutes. The topics of discussion were just number 1, request from LAA coach to discuss background check, and number 7, public safety, Lopatcong EMS. All the other matters were not discussed in executive session. We ran out of time. So those matters will be discussed in the executive session at the end of the meeting. And at that point, we do anticipate action being taken. So members of the public will be invited to stay in the hall if they wish to, although I hear it's cooler out there. But just so you know, only those 2 items were talked about, and the minutes from that executive session will be available at such time as the need for confidentiality no longer exists.
Thank you. All right, our first order of business is a proclamation, and Councilwoman Schneider, I believe you're going to make that presentation.
Adequate notice. Okay. We have a proclamation tonight for a very special young woman. She got a very special appointment, and her name is Victoria Gural, and we have a proclamation for her. Victoria, I've watched you grow up, and you've just done such a great job, and you do everything you do so well, and you do it with your heart and your spirit, and I'm proud of you, and everyone else here is proud of you. So I'd like to give you your proclamation and read it to you. Come on up. Okay. Township of Lopatcong Proclamation, Victoria Gural. Whereas Victoria Gural accepted her appointment to attend the United States Naval Academy in Annapolis, Maryland upon graduation June 11, 2015 from Phillipsburg High School. And whereas Victoria is the first woman from Lopatcong as well as the second woman to be appointed to the Naval Academy from Phillipsburg High School. And whereas Victoria has been a wonderful asset to Lopatcong and the community because of her charitable contributions that included organizing a superhero kickball tournament to benefit an organization that fights a fatal form of muscular dystrophy affecting children called Parent Project Muscular Dystrophy. And whereas Victoria's outstanding personality, academic performance, great leadership potential, extracurricular activities, and community involvement afforded her this opportunity, as well as her nomination by Congressman Leonard Lance. And now therefore be it resolved that Mayor Tom McKay, Council, and this community are very proud of Victoria's accomplishments and wish her the best of luck in all her future endeavors. Let the journey begin.
Thank you, Donna. And again, congratulations to you. We're going to go next into public comment for agenda items only. So I'll ask for a motion to go into public comment for agenda items only.
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'd like to make a statement first before anybody steps up on the items. Pursuant to our discussions earlier, we'd like to move items under old business, items number 4 and 7, to be moved out and put into executive session only. not to be discussed in public.
We didn't agree to that yet.
Making a motion.
Making the
Oh, a
motion.
motion.
Second.
Do we need to take a vote on that, or?
Discussion?
Yeah, I'm not so sure about number 4. I got a brief explanation as to why now, after it's been on the agenda, that it needs to be taken off. This has been a subject that's been out in public for quite a couple of meetings here, and it's been all over our news articles, and I think that this really needs to stay on.
I think, Donna, we discussed it in executive, and we were advised, given legal advice, that we should listen to and take it off public session.
Right.
The reasons were given.
Yes.
And they're not to be discussed at this point.
I know that.
But it sounds like you're discussing them. I just wanted to...
No, I'm not discussing the
We didn't
reasons.
discuss the reasons. I agree that we've brought this out in the public. It's been out for several months. Actions need to be taken here, and by burying it,
I'm sorry, I'm not burying it. I'm saying move it to executive session. That's not burying it. So please, don't put words in my mouth.
you're taking it out of the public, but that's what you do. All right, have your vote.
I'll call the roll. Councilman Delcaro?
Yes.
Councilwoman McKay?
Yes.
Councilwoman Schneider?
Abstain.
Council President Chesler?
Yes.
Mayor McKay?
Abstain. Next item. Oh, first item, we didn't get to this yet.
Public comment. So those 2 items are not on the agenda for,
Not on the agenda. And also, I guess while we're at it, can we make take the vote or the motion to authorize the attorney to write the letter regarding our LAA coaching issue? That was discussed at executive session. So we couldn't take action in executive, so we need to take that action now.
Ms. McHugh, can I recommend that we discuss that some more in executive session?
Okay.
Because I'm not
Oh,
sure.
sure.
If consensus was come to.
Sure.
Okay, public comment, back to public comment agenda items. Mr. Olszewski.
Olszewski, Hollands Way. Couple questions. First, LAA issues at executive session, not sure why that would be. It doesn't
personal.
seem to be an executive session item.
It is. It's huge.
How come?
It's hugely.
No, it's not.
Is it personnel? Is it litigation? Is it real estate?
Private residence matter. They
That is-
asked to come before
But it's not
council.
personnel.
No.
The same with the COA stuff. Under what?
I gave an opinion in executive session as to why.
I just would like to know if it is
No discussion.
contractual.
Attorney-client privilege and litigation.
Okay. Mr. Mayor, old business number 6. While I do understand it's inappropriate to have a council member updating on our website, and it should not be, I wonder why we have to hire somebody when we have a clerk and a deputy clerk. I understand Lori is handling our website for the last 2 years. I'm not sure why clerk or deputy clerk cannot be trained. I know it's not that difficult. I'm not sure why they're not able to handle the updates on the website. Doesn't make any sense to me. Thanks.
Do you have an answer?
Oh, I could train.
Laura said she would train someone. Again, this is the issue where the liaison shouldn't be doing the work. They should be watching it.
Absolutely.
I know. But sometimes it gets jammed up. We're going to try and fix it. All right. Now, sir.
For the record, my name is Len Ortegler. I'm an attorney. I represent Kathleen Dagan. Pardon? I'll
Yeah, the
speak
fans
up.
are making it difficult to hear.
One of the issues, and I understand that your council is trying to narrow some issues, and so am I. So I'm going to try to stay focused on one precise issue. There was, in previous meetings, an individual made some significant allegations that the tax assessor mishandled veterans' deductions. When I appeared at the meeting, I took a position that these allegations and the accuser should have been directed to either the State Division of Taxation or the County Board of Taxation, and not discussed or investigated by a town council, a political body. Moreover, I have concerns about if there are pending tax appeals by individuals that are council members, would be my view that they should be recused and not participating in these discussions. Despite that taking place, I sat quietly and I didn't interfere with the council's decision to move forward. I made it clear I was not waiving any rights. Your council will confirm that. But I did not want to interfere with the council's investigation. One of the problems is when you have partial discussions in public session and some discussions in executive session, it puts individuals who are facing what I would call baseless, spurious, and ill-motivated allegations. It puts them under a cloud. And I commend Ms. Dagan for following my advice to sit quietly with me through 2 meetings while her name and reputation were being besmirched. So we sat through that meeting. Then the matter was placed on the agenda on May 6th, again with a reference to Ms. Dagan by a tax assessor. We came to the meeting, and the investigation was completed by an independent tax assessor who issued a report of his findings in a letter dated April 16, 2015. And then it was placed on the agenda on May 6th. Despite having the report in hand, despite leaving this cloud over my client's name and reputation, despite various news articles being published in the newspaper, despite the individual making these accusations, reiterating things in the newspaper, there was a vote to table that discussion. As I understood it, there were 2 excuses to table that discussion. The first was that the report wasn't received in time, or wasn't, people could not understand or comprehend or digest the report. Well, the report is clear, it's concise, it's specific, it's limited to the issue that the individual was supposed to look at, and it consists of 4 paragraphs. The second issue or excuse was there might have been an issue with respect to a rice notice. Well, if a rice notice was necessary, it should not have been placed on the agenda in the first place. When you place things on an agenda and it's discussed in public, there can be an improper implication with respect to the individual. And again, this put a cloud over my client's head. It's been more than enough time now. The investigation is complete. It's time to expose those accusations and allegations for what they were and what they remain: spurious, defamatory, and without any factual basis. The report by Mr. James Azavino, dated April 16, 2015, states, and it's in the form of a letter to the mayor, and I quote, "On April 14th, I reviewed all of the veterans' deduction applications for the Township of Lopatcong. There are 232 veterans' deductions and 68 surviving spouse deductions. I also reviewed the tax book, a copy of the computerized state and local tax records, and the community military honorary book. Please be advised that I am employed by 7 different communities and have handled over thousands of veteran deduction forms. I can honestly say that I wish my applications were in as good of condition as your applications are. Needless to say, everything was perfect. There wasn't one application without a corresponding deduction. Also, there were no taxpayers receiving any veterans deductions that they were not entitled to receive. After my extensive research, I can only say that the deductions were in perfect order. In fact, Kathy Dagan has set a standard of excellence that I can only hope that the other assessors, including myself, can live up to. If you would like, I would be very happy to discuss my findings with the governing body or the person who alleged the inconsistencies that obviously do not exist. Please do not hesitate to contact me if you have any questions, and he provides his cell phone number, and it's signed Mr. Anzavina. I should also note that at my request, and I don't know Mr. Anzavina, that he's here to confirm exactly what is in this report. In most cases, I do not do things in public. I deal in different forums. All right? I deal in forums where people have to put their hands on a Bible and they have to swear out oaths. So they can't just get up and make allegations about human beings and make allegations about their reputations and their careers and their jobs. Because when you put your hand on a Bible, it's a different story. When you're subject to cross-examination, it's a different story. The only reason that I am here and have finally said something is because it was completely improper to have these allegations addressed in the manner they were. You made that decision, but then to let them sit for a couple of months was a terrible injustice to my client. And I believe she should be given an apology. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I am James Anzavino. I was the author of the letter. First of all, I'd like to congratulate the one young lady who's going to receive her graduation and further her education. And to credit not only to you and to your family, but also to this country that we have young ladies. And I'm a father of a woman. I have my son here with me tonight. But it's always good to see a woman achieve something that everyone says he can't do. So the best of luck. I was retained by the council to come down and do an investigation. Let me give you a little bit of my background just so you know where I'm coming from. I sat on the very same spot that you guys sat for 24 years. So I was a mayor and a councilman. Sat on the school board for 3 years prior to that. I was a commissioner at the New Jersey Meadowlands Authority for 5 years. So I have a little insight on what government is about. I've been an assessor since 1989. Prior to that, I worked 2 years for a revaluation company. Everything I said in this letter is true. I offer my services. I never put a bill in, and I won't put a bill in until this matter is resolved. It's been over 2 months. It's a full three-paragraph letter. And I'm going to give you all my cell phone right now, so if you have any questions. Because I don't know if you got did everybody receive the letter?
Yes, we did.
Was the letter read in discussion or whatever?
We tried, but certain people didn't want to.
Because this is really something that probably should never have come to me. It should have went to the Division of Taxation, and they would have issued you the same letter. I don't understand what's taking this governing body so long. A fellow assessor, I know that what this does, their job is to act impartially, not under the direction or any insinuation by the governing body. What's so hard to receive? There were no veterans receiving any veterans deductions that they were not entitled to. So please, do your due diligence. Reach out to me. My cell phone number, 201-906. You got to write this down. You're not going to know it. 2469. Please, I'm happy to assist you. It's a pleasure. Thank you. Have a good night. Have a good meeting. And once again, congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Any more folks want to come up and say something? I was a little concerned with something that was mentioned there, that there may be people on this council who would have put in for assessment complaints, get their taxes lowered, and then voted on the matter of Mrs. Deegan. I mean, is that so?
It's not me.
When a council member has an appeal, so doesn't it leave here and go to the county? Do we not handle them in-house between?
The question is whether anyone in this council has filed an assessment appeal and then voted against Mrs. Deegan. One-page letter, voted against letting it be read.
How are the two related?
Well, I think
About
our
not
attorney
wanting
just
to
told you.
review something because they didn't get a chance to look at it, to whether or not they filed an appeal or not.
Yes, sir.
First of all, maybe this is on the agenda.
No, I know.
Councilmember files an appeal. In best interest of the town, to make sure everything's clear, there's no possible discrepancy. The assessor has a reference to another assessor to them, as well as another attorney. So this way there's no appearance of
Impropriety. Mhm. Thank you.
The county tax board is also the first board that will vote. A member of my council, me, said I want a reduction. The first thing I'm going to say is, look, if I give it to you, there's going to be appearance of impropriety. That's sent it to the tax board. Tax board will the tax board. Let them have a decision. But the defense of the appraisal, the appeal, be handled by another person who's usually in the same county, another.
I see. Two on council have this? But they're not talking, so. All right. Let's see. Well, do we have any other members of the public that wish to speak? Marla?
Marla Endick, 10 Byron Drive. Just following up on the conversation and Ms. Deegan's attorney brought up. So if I'm understanding correctly, we have members on council who are appealing their taxes. Was that done while they were on council or before they were on council?
I don't know. I don't know who, any details.
So we have sitting council members appealing their taxes while they're on council.
Last time I checked, council members are residents. And they
Yes,
have a
no,
right to do that.
absolutely. It's
Everything
absolutely
is right.
legal and whatnot. But that's just very interesting that they're appealing their taxes while you all voted to raise ours. So I'll be very curious to see how those appeals play out. Is that something that once these are decided that we can ask in public how those appeals were resolved?
Even Oprah request was made by Mr. Olszewski last week.
Okay, all right. Oh,
We're not having a discussion.
We're off the agenda.
okay.
Yeah.
Well, we're actually not off the agenda because,
Here, we have an agenda.
well, is
not.
Miss Schneider's, is there something about her taxes on the agenda?
No,
Yes, it was.
But it was removed.
It was removed.
Okay, so everyone can look into your taxes, but we can't discuss this. Okay, thank you.
once again, misleading by Marla.
Peter, you can.
What?
I said you can.
No.
What's our next?
Any other
agenda
questions?
item?
We're still in open session.
Any other public comments?
Okay, then I'm a motion that we move out of the public comment agenda items only.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, then we'll open up, yes, we'll open up old business. The first item in old business is to approve executive and regular session minutes for March 18th and regular session minutes for a special meeting dated March 30th, 2015. Do I have a motion for that?
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there discussion?
Yes, I have a discussion on that because I don't have photocopies of the minutes in front of me. These minutes, again, are a different way than what we agreed upon. So here we are with like version 4 of how we do our minutes, the records of the township. And quite frankly, this is getting so out of control, ridiculous that we cannot follow a process in this township. And I will not approve minutes that have a one-liner for a couple of people out in the audience and nothing about council members or a word or two from them. I will not approve minutes like that. That is not the proper records for this township. And I say no to this.
All right, I concur with you. They seem to be always slanted in one direction. I'll take a roll call now.
Councilman Del Piero,
Yes.
Councilwoman McKay,
Yes.
Councilwoman Schneider,
No.
Council President Chesler,
Yes.
No. All right, now, item 4. This is the COA update.
2.
No.
What am I looking at? Oh, dear mind. Public hearing on the budget amendment, something much more. I will give that over to our good CFO to make a presentation.
Can we just comment and remind you what the amendment was for?
Yes.
Okay, the first item was to take an additional $10,000 of utility surplus as a revenue into the current fund budget. The second was to remove $11,000 of administrator salary from the municipal administration salaries and wages. The third was to, not an actual monetary amount, but to break out the clerk's budget from the administration budget. The fourth was to reduce $8,000 from the assistant for the finance office. I lost count. The next is to move $7,500 from tax collection salary and wages into the sewer utility for sewer collections. The swimming pool salaries and wages was reduced by $1,000. In capital improvements, we had a reduction of $50,000 from various road paving and a $25,000 reduction in the police SUV purchase.
Yes. Now, we have another agenda item that touches on this, and it might be beneficial. It's in new business, but it has to do with the budget. So, if you will, I would like to cover it. It's the legal budget. This month, we got $30,000 plus in legal expenses. Most of it doing with the asphalt plant appeal. Now, at that rate, it would appear that the legal budget will run out far before the year end. So we have to, I think we have to put back the $50,000 into the legal budget that had been taken out. I believe someone took $50,000 out of that budget, discussed that.
As part of the ongoing negotiations, money was
Yes.
reduced from the
Okay,
legal budget.
forget the amount. But I think if we pay this bill, it'd be something like $30,000, $35,000 left in the legal budget
38, yeah.
to get us through the rest of the year.
Correct.
Now, because we have such high expenses apparently, all of a sudden concerning the asphalt plant appeal, I have no idea where this is going to go. It may even be more than that. I did not know that the asphalt plant appeal was in the mix. We had gotten some small bills over the last 5 months for relative to the asphalt plant, but they only about 1,000, 1,200, numbers like that every month. Now all of a sudden it exploded, and there were, I think, $20,000 between the planning board and the municipality. So that's it's becoming a drag on our budget. So we either have to decide whether or not we should stop litigating on this thing. And
I would recommend that's discussed in executive session. It's litigation.
But who authorized this
I
to
don't
even
know. Who
happen?
authorized-
Why is it even on a bill? Nobody voted for it.
And that's part of their contract.
That's not part of their contract.
They defend the township.
After it's confirmed with council,
And it was like back in 2012.
when was
Not
the
the
asphalt
appeal.
plant
Appeal was
appeal
never,
approved by
to my
council?
knowledge. You could help me. Was it
authorized.
the defense of the appeal?
It's the defense of the entire matter.
Well, up to a point, but it could have ended in negotiations or settlements. But instead, it just goes on, and I'm questioning whether the appeal itself was ever authorized. Because now I'm looking at more than $20,000 in bills relative, it looks like, to the appeal alone.
Are these bills from this year? They're all from this year?
They're all from this month.
Yeah, but nothing, no, I doubt
It was on this
$30,000 happened
invoice.
this month.
Oh, yeah? It's the bills for this month, this year.
The township
This-
may
How much so far?
So
I
far.
may receive them this month, but I don't think, no.
No, just this month today.
What? Well, I think that there's a planning board one that's
Planning
all
board
over the
one was
place,
all-
yeah.
Right.
But, yeah, it's a matter of concern to me, and I think that we have to do the responsible thing with respect to the budget, and we have to kick it up for legal expense if we're going to get legal bills like this.
So far, year to date, we've spent $69,000 in legal.
How much is that for litigation and how much is it for regular matters?
Litigation is broken out between 3 or 4 different sub-accounts. I would say more than half of it is for litigation. There's a couple of different matters.
And what's our total budget again?
$108,000 per year.
108. And any tax appeals, that litigation is included in this number too, correct? Okay.
Yeah, so far, there's been $12,000 for appeals.
Okay.
For legal for appeals.
So as part of this 30,000, would that go to the planning board budget?
They're what, they're
There
finished,
is
right?
a bill that's not on the bill list tonight. I think it was around $12,000.
Okay.
That was all planning board.
Okay.
Yes, that's the 30 includes that.
The 30.
Yeah. But I think their budget is what, 14, or the planning board's budget?
The planning board litigation budget, as introduced, is $14,000.
14, so it's almost gone.
You know, when we
Oh,
had,
this was for last year though? Can we charge it back to last year?
Yes, yeah, if there's anything from last year,
Yeah,
it
we'd
can be
have to
charged back
go
to
through
last
it.
year.
So what is the balance right now?
For our current fund legal, for right now, if you adopt the budget as introduced and amended, which we haven't gotten there yet, but we'd have $38,000 for the rest of the year for general legal.
I don't understand if when we have executive session, we talk about litigation, status of suits, other suits that come in, but we didn't have anything, ever a discussion in executive session for
Donna,
appeal.
can't talk about executive session.
I'm not talking about executive session. I'm reading it off of the executive session list. We have status
Yeah.
of lawsuits and everything else, but we never had on our executive session a status of what we do with the appeal. So we're spending taxpayer money for this when not all of council agrees with that.
Right, so over 20,000 of the 30 is that, so, I mean, that's like taxes on 4 condo units in Overlook this month. The annual tax for it is going to further the asphalt plant. I mean, I don't know how popular that would be with the,
Well, the whole thing with the asphalt plant, the township had to defend the process, right, to keep the integrity of this township as the governing body. And that's the whole purpose, defending. So far, the taxpayers, all you people out there and us up here, we paid about 200 grand so far in defending a legal process that a superior judge had made a ruling for this township, found that everything they've done, planning board and mayor council, did follow the rule of law as far as the asphalt plant. I'm here, I'm not saying I'm for the asphalt plant or against it. What I'm saying is this is what it cost us to defend a legal process. And it's still climbing because of the appeals against the asphalt.
You don't have to defend like you say, Lou, that's not
The township
accurate.
was sued. The township has been sued. The township has to defend the integrity, all right, of the governing body. The decision that they made, they followed the rule of law, and that's what they were sued for, because the accusations of improprieties, that what they did was illegal. You have to defend that. And guess what, people? The superior judges, 2 superior judges, ruled in favor of the township. 60 accusations were victorious for the township. So I like to say that the RLL and Greenwich together, all right, has cost the township 200 grand, all right, for a frivolous lawsuit. And that should anger everyone.
That's not frivolous. Were you at the hearings, Lou? Were you at the
Listen, I
hearings?
understand listen, I understand the people's passion. However, when the court system ruled in favor, and what they did, listen, the accusations here, all right, just what the other guy was saying, the attorney, the accusations, because we, somehow digging here, you know, the accusation against her, all right? We're talking about the reputation of people, livelihood, that the planning board members, mayor and council, the decisions they made, all right? What about their reputation? That doesn't count? And that, you know, I'm angry, and everybody here should be angry. And you know what? The clock is still ticking, and we're still paying for it. So when is enough with these appeals?
Exactly. Right, I gotcha. When is enough enough?
Exactly. So I don't know.
Already fund something that benefits one company, let them fight for that.
But the township is in the middle of it, defending the process.
You didn't need to be in the middle of it.
We've never had a meeting.
You didn't need to be
The
in
way
the
the
middle of
planning
it.
board was accused, you don't say that they'd have to defend themselves?
Listen.
I disagree.
I don't know that it's appropriate for us to have a discussion.
No, we're not having discussion.
Just
no.
hold it to the end.
Just say it's
Hold it to the end,
ridiculous.
please.
This never came across as giving a decision to all council members. This should have been brought to all council members in executive session to discuss and then vote whether we will continue or not continue. This is not just 3 council members up here making all the decisions. There are 5 of us up here making decisions, and this should come across all of our desks and make a decision on it.
Yeah, it should be an executive session.
Sorry, this should be an executive session. Can we please move on about the budget?
Well, we have to decide if we're going to up the budget to cover all the legal bills that are coming in.
Decide.
Or are we going to just let it run out and then have to borrow money? What would you rather do?
You don't necessarily have to borrow money. I mean, if you have money at the end of the year to transfer.
We don't have any money. We have no money to transfer. We don't have money. We have debt that we need to pay already that has been piled and piled and piled
Yeah,
upon.
we make our debt payments, Donna.
Well, yeah, we make the payments, so what? You can make the payments, so that means you can just keep piling on the debt?
No.
Is that how you run your
We'll
household?
find out in November how much money you have left, right?
It's a little too late by then.
The problem will be if we run out of funding prior to November, either the
Can't pay.
professionals just don't get paid, or we have to have an emergency. And an emergency would have to be raised in the succeeding year 100%.
Okay. Unfortunately, I know the numbers are based on last year's, and last year we had a mayor who was an attorney. There's a lot more phone calls being made. I know the council is climbing a lot too. I mean, I don't know, do we have to make another amendment, or what do you suggest?
If
Yes.
you, yeah, no, it's okay.
Yes, if you make another amendment, it's going to take another 2-week process before you can have a hearing on the next amendment. Or you can do what Lorraine was saying, if you find that you're coming closer to the end of the year and you know what your expenses are going to be the rest of the year, you can pass that emergency, and that emergency gets funded in a future year budget. So you do
Right.
have that option to, if you adopt the budget tonight, you can always do the emergency between now and then.
It's the same as borrowing money, but you're borrowing from
You're not
yourself.
No, you're not borrowing money.
Bringing
Yep.
money into the budget to pay the bills, and then
Gotta
if
pay.
you increase the budget this year, you're increasing it this year. If you do it by emergency, you're increasing the budget next year.
Right.
You're increasing the budget either way, with the emergency or with the
You're borrowing from next year's budget, basically. You're taking money from next year's budget. If it had to stay the same, you'd have to add more to the budget.
And it's not just litigation. I mean, it's not just the asphalt plant, because the litigation, there's other litigation pending, and there's also just a lot of calls to our council.
Mayor, I don't sign the bills, you do. What are the biggest expenses on the bills that you've seen? Are these the highest dollar amounts that have come in, or are there other things that kind of equal that for other reasons?
On the legal bills?
Yes.
Well, for the asphalt plant appeal, they have been, for the first 5 months, very small. There were like maybe $1,000 in one bill, maybe 800 in another, like that. Maybe 4,000 or 5,000 so far for the year. Then we get hit with this big one. So.
Do you
that's
know
what I'm
though
saying.
what it's billed for? Like, is it for last year?
No,
we find
no,
that out?
this is new stuff.
Not for the
The-
current fund.
No, no,
Not
not
for
the
the
current
current
bill.
fund.
No,
You
no.
received it this year from Mr. Carbone, but was it for work that he did last year on his
It
invoice?
wasn't for that bill. That bill is the planning board bill, I believe, and that was received just a week or so ago. And that does include work from 2014, the beginning of 2014, I think it was.
Not very timely.
No. Why are they
So what big
coming
bill did
so?
we get this month? I mean, how much does an appeal usually cost anyway? What big bill did we get this month?
We've
We
got,
did have a big Lavery bill, that was the current fund bill.
Okay.
I don't know off the top of my head how much that was, that's on the bill. so.
yeah, the bill was for $15,000.
And what did that include?
$364 was for the Marinelli litigation as well. But that's the asphalt foundation. And then this one from Carbone.
Great.
Yeah, it's $12,000.
That's from, is it from last year?
No, well, it's dated 5/22.
Oh, yeah, that's the purchase voucher, his actual bill.
We have to take some time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it looks like
Yeah,
14.
some 14. A lot of you can't read. Well, I'll take a suggestion. What do you want to do?
I don't, if you're so confident that the township didn't do anything wrong and you've already had 2 cases that you won, why continue? You've proven your point if you think that you've done nothing wrong. So why continue?
Still in the court system. Still in the courts.
It needs to be discussed in executive.
It's hard to discuss that in
It needs to be
executive when we have a
discussed in
budget
executive.
that can affect it.
Donna, executive session.
Excuse me, don't cut me off when I'm speaking.
I am trying to cut you off because that is litigation.
No, it's on the agenda. This is what I'm reading off the agenda. Stop telling me I'm reading things that don't belong. I'm reading it right off the agenda. I am not talking about the litigation. I'm telling you, how can we keep that on there when we have a budget that we have to pass and we have to make a decision now whether we need to do an amendment or not?
You can move this matter to the agenda after the next executive session if that's council's issue.
Then you'd have to move the budget also.
Yes, you'd have to move.
You'd have to move all of this to the end.
All right, I make a motion that we do that. We move
Motion.
Both into the next session, all right?
The budget too?
Not the
You
budget.
You still have to have
Oh,
the
yeah.
hearing on the amendment.
We have
That
to
was
have the hearing,
advertised
yeah.
for tonight. You still have to have
Yes,
that
we
hearing.
do.
No, I think they're discussing having it tonight. I just want to go
Yes.
into executive session first and then come back out and do it.
So you're going to push the amendment hearing until after the second executive session as well? Because that budget
Yeah.
amendment isn't going to change. You would have an additional amendment if you
Okay.
so choose.
So you have to pass this amendment, and then you have an
Right.
additional.
Well, you don't have to pass it, but you
Okay.
do have to have the hearing on it. After
Okay.
the hearing
Okay.
closes, then you have the option of adopting the amendment.
Okay,
All right.
okay.
Do we have to ask for public comment on here?
You have to open the public hearing to public comment.
Okay. So we'll open to public comment for the purposes of the budget hearing. We'll make a motion to do that.
Motion.
Second,
Second,
all in favor?
aye.
Any questions on the budget?
Just come on.
Amendment, budget amendment.
Budget amendment only.
Come on. Yes.
There are
Amendment.
there's a lot of copies up here too, if anyone would like a copy of it.
Brian has a comment.
I think Brian was going to.
Brian, yeah. Yeah, you can come with Brian.
Brian?
Department head of the Department of Public Works, I have to let you know something. You're stopping me. You're stopping what I do to the public, for the public. If you don't pass a budget tonight or in the near future here, my leaves start in September. That gives me, right now, I got June, July, and August to do the rest of the town. You're not giving me much time if you cut 2 more months after that. You gotta treat what's right. So I ask you very nicely to please get it together, figure it out, and treat the public as it deserves to be treated, so they can drive around on their roads and everything else. All right?
Chevsky Highlands Way. Mr. Mayor, how can we approve a budget, discuss a budget, if things which are essential to the budget, like the possibility of having to pay back $230,000 to the state, the lawsuit, $20,000. Let's say $250,000 right there, which may or may not be added to the budget, and you guys refuse to even talk about it. I'm not sure how that is going to happen.
I just want to remind Mayor and Council that this is a hearing specifically for the budget amendment. All the comments should be just for the amendment.
Just for the changes, and then after it would be the budget. Just the changes. You're welcome.
All right. Any more questions on the amendment? Okay, motion to close. Public comment.
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Now we do a vote on it?
If you would like to.
That would be nice. Motion to...
This is a vote just on the amendment.
Motion to approve the amendment to the budget.
Motion.
Second? No,
He's asking for a second.
I'm asking for a second. Oh, I'll second it. Discussion? Roll call?
Councilman Del Caro,
I'm not putting back 50,000 extra for attorney fees at the moment.
It's not for that. It's for the amendments
The amendment's
on there.
Right,
Yeah, he's just commenting.
yes.
Okay.
So is that a yes for the amendment?
Yes, he
The
said yes at
amendments.
the end.
sorry, Councilwoman McCabe,
Yes, for the amendment.
Councilwoman Schneider,
Yes.
Council President Chesley,
No.
Mayor McKay.
Yes. Okay. Now we do adoption of the 2015 budget.
Can I, before we go, I'd like to ask Ms. Cheslin why she said no.
Yeah, you don't have to answer that.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. We're in the adoption for the 2015 budget. The amendment's been passed, and we have to do a resolution to approve the 2015 budget. I'll take a motion to approve the 2015 budget.
Discussion first?
Well, first
No
a motion.
motion.
Do you have a motion to?
As is,
As amended.
as amended, right? Motion.
Second.
All right, discussion?
Yeah, I have a discussion. I know that this, the new budget that it's going to be voted on tonight, it's going to include a 2% increase, which equals to 1 penny. So if your house is valued at $250,000, it means $22.50 increase in the local government, as it is tonight. My philosophy to this, and why I will support this, is that I believe that we should be consistent every year with a small increase of 1 penny. Being consistent every year, what it does is it does a few things. Number one, it pays our bills. Number two, it helps build our surplus. Number three, it helps avoid double-digit increases as we had in the past. And in the past couple of years, there was a variety of reasons why we had increased 11% one year and 15.5% another year. And that's because of the downturn in the economy, delinquent property taxes that weren't paid, tax appeals. There was a number of factors. I think that this will be the smallest that in a few years. All right, with this 2% increase, I think it's very modest. I don't think it hurts anyone. I think that, but we have to stay consistent, barring any, obviously, unforeseen catastrophic events. Last month, I was accused for politicking because I wanted to decrease it 1 penny that's from 4% to 2%, or 2 pennies to 1 penny. Again, I just explained my philosophy, but I was accused for politicking. We have to remember, folks, this year, all right, every year, the calendar year, parallel election time and the budget run side by side. So if it wasn't election time and I still knocked it down 1 penny, what would you call it then? Is it still politicking? I like to say the opposite, that when people throw around numbers to people and not fully explain to them why the increase or why the decrease, the definition of politicking, I would ask that question. What do you think? Who's politicking? So when I'm accused of something, I take offense to that. Because I stand by the decisions I make here. Being fiscally responsible doesn't mean you don't spend any money. It means you look and you make the hard choices, because I'm a taxpayer as well, as everyone here, and I'm looking out for the best interest of every one of you. And this is why I did it. And the reason was they wanted to raise it 4%. We were so close, about 75,000, to get to that 1 penny, and that's why I did it, because we're that close. If we were around 10%, it would be impossible to do that, because I would understand the circumstances. But being that close, we did it, and that's why this budget here is a good budget, and I would support that. So, having said that, but we have to stay consistent.
I'm going to speak next on that. When you approve a 15.3% increase in 2013, when it wasn't an election
Are we
year.
talking about this budget, or are we talking about 2 years ago?
Yeah, we are, because you just talked about other budgets too. So I can talk about other budgets if you did. Okay?
So
I didn't interrupt you when you were speaking, so let me speak.
Go ahead.
Thank you. You did a 15.3% increase to the 2013 budget you approved.
That's right.
You were not campaigning. Last year, you approved an 11.4%.
And can you explain it to
I'm
everybody
still speaking.
why we did it?
Okay, all right, you want me to wait? Go ahead, finish what you have to say.
I just hope that you explain why we did that when you finish saying those are the increases I support.
I will.
Okay.
I didn't get there. Can you please let me finish? Okay. Thank you. You approved an 11.4% increase last year, and you were not campaigning. This year, it's a 2.2% increase, and you are campaigning. I'm not done. When you talk about, you went around telling people that we had the biggest budget in Lopatcong history. That's what you said. You threw some numbers around. Biggest budget in Lopatcong history. Well, it is the biggest budget in Lopatcong history, but every year it's been the biggest budget in Lopatcong history.
It has 2013.
2013, because the school tax went down 10%.
No, our budget.
Yeah, it's the total budget. 6501. It went from 7023 to 6501. That is a 10% decrease from that. Even for ours, local municipal portion, you increased the local municipal portion by 15.3% in 2013. So you reduced the budget, but you gave us the biggest increase Lopatcong history has ever seen. The biggest. So the number that the budget is, that's the total budget. That's not all municipal. And for this year, it's a 2.2 because we changed the process. We're in the beginning of changing the process. We stopped adding fat after fat after fat to every single budget because we now do zero-based budgeting, actually a hybrid this year because we can't figure out where our expenditures have been. So it's a different approach. And what this budget does is you build from the ground up. There's no fat. You take it as lean as you can. And you asked for more cuts last week. You spent 5 minutes and you cut down a point or something of a cent. Imagine if you spent more than 5 minutes and you sat with the finance committee and we worked for hours and interviewed people and we sat and we talked and you were absent from that. And I asked, I'm still speaking, you can speak when I'm done. No, I'm not. And when I asked you to do a task on that, you didn't. So when you talk about 2.2% versus 2% or 1%, this is a very different budget process. And I've taken it down to 2.2% because of what I've done. And this is how we're going to do it from here on in. It's a different process. And when you keep taking more out, because it's a different process, you are now jeopardizing because we've taken as much as we can out. So when you say it's the biggest budget in Lopatcong history, it is. You're correct. But it is the smallest local municipal increase this township has seen since 2008. And that's what I've calculated back to. So you can't sit here and say you should have a budget every year, a small increase, because you've not done that so far until I've been here to fix the budget.
Again, you didn't explain.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
Again, you didn't explain why the other 2 years, why we had to
It
raise it.
doesn't matter why. It's the local municipal portion. You have the control over that.
That's right.
That's the portion you control, and you didn't.
All right, let's move on. I think essentially what Donna's trying to say and Lou's trying to say is we all want to keep the budget down as low as we can. The difference this year is that we went and we talked to all of the department heads and got from them what they thought they needed to do their jobs. And that hadn't been done in the past, to my knowledge. Because we did it that way and talked to them and got their input, we felt that we were, then everybody pads a little bit in case of an emergency, but we felt we were pretty close to what they needed to operate. So if you take a big hunk out of one of those budgets, you could run into problems. It already happened with the legal budget, it looks like, and I don't want to see it happen to the roads budget because I know that that's very important this year because our roads need to get sealed. So I think we'll close that.
No, I didn't have my chance to speak yet.
Oh, didn't?
Thank you.
You want to speak? Okay.
Donna, you said in 2013, the $6.5 million, that was everything, including school? That was the school budget, or?
It was 6501, 34580 was the
6501.
34580. That was the entire municipal, that was the entire budget, not just the local, not just the tax levy.
Not just, that was the municipal budget.
No, that was the entire budget,
Municipal,
including,
school?
yes.
No, school budget's like $17 million.
I'm sorry. Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I'm not understanding what you were saying. Yes, municipal.
Yes, okay.
Yes.
And that was actually a decrease from the year before.
Yes, it was.
Yes.
It was.
All right, I just want to get that straight. As far as the finance committee, I took great offense at your comments that you just made for Lou because you and he are the finance committee and he works. You need to make some accommodations or at least try to maybe meet later in the afternoon or early in the morning or something like that. People have to try to work together here.
When you're asking employees to come and sit down and talk about their budgets, have them come in at night or very early in the morning, is that that's a lot to ask of an employee?
There's plenty that he could have done. I'm sure plenty would have done it, and I'm sure if you worked around his schedule, you.
I did. I asked, and he said I'm working. He didn't say any. He said nighttime.
As far as fixing the.
I work at nighttime.
At the end of the day, works for me.
Yeah,
Our employees some are here till 3:30, some are here not every day. So it's very hard to sit there and ask those employees to come in when it's not their schedule.
salaried employees understand that sometimes they have to work beyond their hours.
Sure, but this was a big task. We
Yes.
spoke to people more than one time.
Yes. What was I going to say? The first original budget we had almost $1 million shortfall. I do believe I was the one who sent it to the auditors to get us back down to a reasonable amount.
Yeah, we were.
That's all.
I think,
I don't think you all should be speaking like that. You're distracting
Well,
the
they have
meeting.
to, is it public discussion before the vote?
before the vote for the budget, right?
Yep.
Okay. We had a motion and a second, so now we vote. Roll call? Yeah.
Councilman Valcarro,
Yes.
Councilwoman McVeigh,
Yes.
Councilwoman Schneider,
Yes.
Council President Chesler,
No.
Mayor McKinney.
Yes. Okay.
Can I ask why you said no to the budget?
I just gave you my reason.
No. Okay.
I don't.
I don't even know.
It's all right. All right, the next item on the agenda under old business is the COA update. I don't know where to begin with this.
You took it off the agenda.
Voted to remove that.
The what?
We're going to put it in executive session.
Yeah. but my question is, is it the entire PILA issue, or should we
Absolutely not.
bifurcate it, and there's
No.
different elements here?
I gave you my opinion that this entire matter should be an executive session. If, when we discuss it in executive session, we discuss the certain...
Excuse me, are you directing the mayor on what to do, Peter? I'm sorry. Is that what you were doing? Are you directing the mayor on what to
We
do?
haven't had the other discussion.
Oh, really?
I didn't say him, so whatever he did.
Okay, directed note, Peter's directing the mayor on what to do.
I think he was kidding on me.
I don't think he was.
I think he's an agent from Greenwich. Okay, go up there. All right, shared services update. Donna, you have an update on that?
Yeah, Lou, you can talk when you want. Do you want to start first? Because I didn't get back to, they didn't give me anything.
Okay, so you want to table it? Because you have more information?
Well, I can just talk about what we are going to negotiate. Is that all right? Okay. So, after our, shared service meeting with Lopatcong, Lou and I met with our subcommittee, and, it came down to they are only interested in sharing service with us regarding, the tax collector. It turns out that both our tax collector and, well, I can't talk about, I can't even say her. Well, both, okay, so we have two townships that want to share service, their tax collector. So, we are still meeting again to, see if we can make that happen. We don't have, any numbers or answers for you folks on that, but that's the only position that they're interested in sharing service. Also, I brought to their attention, we've been trying to figure out what to do in the finance office, and they do have a finance clerk that we are trying to entertain a shared service with her. So we are, those are the two items that we have for shared service. As far as any of the other positions right now, we don't, and I think Lou and I will sit and talk about maybe reaching out to other townships.
I would just recommend the finance clerk, those discussions, you contact Mr. Winter about that, because we are civil service, and I believe POHAD is not. There may be a civil service implication. I would just ask.
POHAD is civil service. They are civil service, okay.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
You might still want to just.
is it a part-time position?
It would be a part-time. She works there right now 15 hours a week, and she's interested in increasing her hours, so we would take her at 15 hours a week, which would make her part-time, and share the expenditures for an employee, rather than hire her outright.
Sharing.
Oh,
If there's no benefits, is there any point, do we just hire her?
taxes, and it could be depending upon health insurance.
Well, she has no benefits.
Part-time.
What was that?
Part-time.
Yeah, she's part-time. It's definitely taxes, and there was another item that was
We
possibly,
would pay her like
Pension.
security and stuff from here.
yeah,
Mhm.
employment taxes and
Hire her
pension.
outright, too?
We could, but if we can save some money on it, I'd like to try and save some money on it rather than just hire her
Yeah, if you can
outright.
show us the savings.
Yeah, let's look at the book.
Yeah, we're still entertaining that. When we get facts and figures, we'll bring them to council.
How long will it take? Because I know, our CFO was waiting.
We are, yes. Well, Mayor Kern assured me we would talk very shortly, and I do believe, Lou, they were talking about having a meeting on June 15th. So it will be very shortly.
Okay. Thank you for that. Now, number 7.
Nope, number 6.
Sorry.
Oh, I keep skipping. No. Need another one. Okay, this point was to appoint a webmaster. Now, I think what the issue is that it's a lot of work to take care of the website, and sometimes things aren't getting up there. Planning board stuff hasn't been put up there for 2 years.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, so, and there's some stuff up there I don't think is accurate. I'd like to, in a nice way, sit down as well.
Well, just sit down.
So
Can't read
that's all.
minds.
I know it's hard to keep up with it, and that's why
Well,
I'm
I can't read
thinking.
minds.
No, I know you can't. Only I can do that.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to hire a new person, so that might leave some room between some of the people we have now, that one of them could be trained, as Peter thought might be an idea, to take up that task. I don't know, how many hours a week do you think?
It really depends. It depends on what's going on. I mean, it really doesn't take that long to do. There's only.
You would be willing to train?
Oh, yeah, we train them. Mhm.
Okay, that would be great.
I wasn't directing, I just suggested.
We know that. If you directed, we'd say, okay.
As far as the planning board goes, I do believe you guys just voted last week to put all the minutes up, and all the minutes that I have received, the planning board secretary gave them all to me this week, and they're up there.
Okay, that's good news.
Mm-hmm.
That's good news. We like that transparency. That's good. All right. So that seems to take us through to number 7.
Well,
and I
wait a
think-
second. I have a comment on that. We have
Come on.
Lori that's doing
I'll
that,
train them. It's fine.
but why are we're hiring someone?
No, we're
No,
not.
no, we're going to hire the finance person. The
I'll train them
part-time
on the
finance
website.
person. We've got, Beth, and we've got Phyllis. that
Yeah.
could, and she says not that many hours,
Yeah,
so
it's
probably
not
the best one of them did it. We'd avoid having to hire a full-time person.
Right, so we're okay with.
Yeah, I
Yeah, we can't hear you.
Yeah, I can train them.
And this is another duty on top of the many you already have?
It would be Phyllis on the new person.
I mean, do we discuss it with the employee first?
We probably
So we'd be, I think we should do that and see if all the duties that they have already, we're giving them more, just deciding.
We'll of course do that. The idea is to just get the ball rolling and take it to the best way we can. And get.
I
get
think
little
that the
thing
current,
taken care of.
Lori was doing a good job. When
Yeah,
she
I
was
did.
told to put things up, she put them
Yeah.
up. So, I think now you're unloading more work on someone who's already got a lot of work.
We will take all that into consideration as we proceed. Number 7, you want to handle?
Number 7 is off.
Council voted to move that to executive session.
Okay, new business. Yes, we can do that. Number 4, you sure it's 4?
5.
I think it's 5, you mean. Mammoth
Five,
Telephone?
five.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The person from Mammoth Telephone, if they would please step up. Welcome.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Some documents that were shared.
Thank you.
It's okay. It's okay. Go ahead. We'll share.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Joseph Barato, and I am employed by Monmouth Telecom. We're a New Jersey corporation that deals in telecommunications for the business industry. As an aside, the company has its corporate office in Red Bank, New Jersey, and we've been providing telecommunication services to the business industry for close to 29 years. That being said, my experience is working with governmental agencies, municipalities, cities, and townships. And as such, what we did was we came in, we evaluated your current telecommunications network, meaning the way you conduct your telecommunications, and also the bill for services. We believe that we can do two things to promote the communications in this municipality. One, reduce significantly your monthly telecommunications. You'll see that's reflected in the analysis that I provided everyone. It's on the right-hand side. Your current telecommunications is roughly $3,500. If you are on our network, there will be a savings of close to 47%. your network would be $1,700. Saving money is only one aspect of what we do. The second portion, which I believe is more important, is that we will upgrade and provide you with a more robust and redundant network. And by that I mean the municipal building, that houses both the administration and the police department. If your services were interrupted currently, for whatever reason, a storm, a line went down, your total voice application would be disconnected. What we've done is, in our proposal, is to change the way that is being handled by doing two things. A, bringing in a fiber optic network, which fiber optics, those of you not familiar in the telecommunications industry, is the best type of communication that's available today. And secondly, providing you with a redundant application. In the rare event that that fiber optic network were to go down, your voice services, which would be important for the police department, would continue uninterrupted. And we do that by bringing in a piece of equipment, and it's what we call automatic failover. If you look in the materials that I provided, on the left side there is a mammoth slick that discusses exactly what that is, and it says cable and files failover. We do that in all of the municipalities that we handle in the state of New Jersey. The other thing that I wanted to mention is that you will also see on the left side a service level agreement, something that we provide to governmental organizations that sets forth the obligations of Mom and Telecom in terms of providing you with continued service. And I call your attention specifically to item number 4, which indicates that after we install all of our equipment and we have it operational, you're entitled to a 7-day grace period to make sure that everything that we've said and I have said is operational. If not, we'll walk away. So this is only provided to municipalities and other governmental agencies. I think the other item that I did want to mention, which is important for a governing body, is that our office remains open 24/7 by 365, customer service, customer support, and network operations center, which is staffed only with telecommunications and professionals and telecommunications engineers. So if the police at 3 o'clock in the morning have an issue, they can pick up a phone, they can make a phone call, and someone will answer that call and respond immediately to their problems and fix those problems. That's about it. I mean, there also is some references in there that you can look at. We do many other towns and municipalities and counties other than the ones that are there. We just take those as a representative sample because the borough administrators or the CFOs have been kind enough to allow us to utilize their name and their number. And I'll gladly answer any question. By the way, it is a 2-year agreement that we require. During the term of that agreement, the services that we've listed in our proposal remain constant, except for one item, which is, you will see about halfway down the front page, it speaks of usage. Usage fluctuates each and every month, and it's really dependent upon how many calls you're making. But to give you an example, even if you increased your usage by some 2,000 or 3,000 minutes, we're talking about an amount that's less than $50, because local calls are only a penny, and anywhere else in the United States is a penny and a half. All the other items that are listed for the redundant application, for the T1, for the failovers, For the analog lines, those are all constant numbers and remain constant during the term of this agreement.
Do we still use our hardware or our phones?
Yes,
Yes.
this is only the transport that
Okay.
we're changing. With that, by transport, I mean your ability to communicate to the outside world. Your phone system remains in place, what we call a PBX, what you have. The handsets that you maintain on everyone's desk remains the same. We just handle your ability to get to the outside world.
We had a problem in the past when we tried to switch over with our hardware. Is there any way for you to test our phones like outside of here, like take it to another location and test it out?
I don't understand. Test
Our phones, it was determined when we tried to switch over to another one, we had so many problems, and they determined that it was our phones were not equipped to handle it.
The reason for that is what you were looking to switch to was what we call a VoIP, which is voice over internet protocol type of system. This is not a voice over internet protocol system. This is basic, we say in the telecommunications industry, hardwire. Meaning we're bringing in fiber. But yes, that would be a case if you were transferring to a voice over an internet protocol.
And then we would have the problem.
The handsets or the equipment have to be certain type to allow that. That's not what we're recommending yet.
As far as your service level agreement, I guess if we were to do this, we would have to sign a contract, and that would go to our attorney first?
Yes.
Okay. Because what is the recourse if you don't meet your service level agreements? Is there a way for us to get out of the 2-year agreement? if you're not
Yes,
happy?
I think it's listed in there. There are many recourses, I mean, obviously, that we list. We also have a contract that goes to supply the contract. Normally, our contracts are 3 years, but for municipalities, we reduce them to 2 years. And the reason for that, I hope you understand, is we need to bring in certain circuits and documents which we bring in from the Verizon network from whole, since they own that.
So how many years are you guaranteeing these prices, with the exception of usage?
They're guaranteed for the entire term, which is 2 years.
Which is 2 years?
That's correct.
So there's a possibility of a rate increase after 2
After 2 years? We,
what's your past history been, stated?
I've been doing telecom for 30 years, sir. I can tell you this much. 30 years ago, T1s, when I worked for MCI, were selling for $1,000 a month. That's one T1. You have 2 T1s for $700. I have not seen any increase. We were selling long-distance services then for 21 cents a minute. If you're looking at it, it's a penny a minute. The telecommunications industry has responded in the adverse effect. Everything else is going up. Our costs are going down. And the reason for that is very simple, because voice over internet protocol has taken over the industry, and as such, we need to be competitive with voice over internet protocol.
Is there any downtime? What's the downtime of our phone system?
At the
current
time
one.
of the conversion,
Yeah.
the normal downtime is roughly 12 to 15 minutes.
Okay.
But that's not total downtime. So what happens is, just to give you an idea, we bring in all of our equipment, we test all of our equipment, and then we set a date for what we call a port. And we physically take the lines and bring them onto the fiber optic circuit. At that point, all of your lines go down, and then as we plug each line in, it's what we call a port. It goes into a system. That line populates itself. So basically, the whole system is down, but as each line comes up, so you're really not down for more than 2 or 3 minutes.
Okay. Okay.
And we do police departments in
First,
a different manner. We do them first. They have a number of analog lines. So we port the analog lines first so that they are operational during this port. They become first, and then we do everything else behind them.
Great.
And you say you're bringing in fiber optics?
Yes, well, it's fiber. Yes, it's a fiber network.
It's a fiber network.
Yes.
So what is it hooking into out on the street?
To the pole.
But is that fiber?
Well, there is fiber on your street, yes.
There is.
Yes.
So we currently have the fiber out there.
Well, there's fiber on the pole, which is owned by Verizon.
Right.
From the pole into your facility, Verizon brings that in. That's their responsibility because they own what we call the last mile.
Right.
Once it gets into your facility, we take it over.
So we don't have it coming in yet, or we do?
Well, you do.
We
You
have fiber
coming in.
optic.
Yes,
Okay.
you do.
But
Okay.
it's not utilizing.
You're just not utilizing it. It's a different form of fiber optic that you
Right.
have coming in, but there is fiber into your building because you have FiOS in this building, or you have some form of internet access, which is a form of
Right,
fiber.
okay.
But there is fiber on the
Okay.
pole outside.
Yes, because I've been told we can't get FiOS out here because we don't have fiber, so that's why I'm asking,
Well,
where's the...
Depends on.
Yeah, actually FiOS is a much different application.
Yes,
And it's really dependent where Verizon has laid the lines.
right.
So you can have certain aspects of the community can have it, and other people don't have it. But this is a different form of fiber. This is T1 fiber, so it's what we say in the industry, pure fiber. FiOS is a sort of a hybrid. It's a form of fiber, but it's not a form of fiber, if you know what I mean.
So you don't have to get any permissions from the local telephone to do?
No, we are should mention this, Mama Telecom is a CLEC, meaning we're a competitive local exchange carrier that we can provide you with dial tone. And we are also an IXC, certified IXC, which is an inter-exchange carrier, meaning we can co-locate in the Verizon central offices where we maintain all our equipment.
And then one last question. How can you have New Jersey state tax? You have it tax exempt. And we've been...
Because municipalities are tax exempt in the state of New Jersey. Unfortunately, you're paying state taxes, but I know the CFO is working on that and having that rebated. Verizon should know better, but all municipalities are exempt from state taxes in New Jersey. You're not exempt from federal taxes, but state taxes you are exempt. That's correct.
Okay, okay.
All right.
Got it.
This is just for phone, not for internet, correct? It's just covering phone.
That is correct.
Okay, all right.
You'll see there's a line item that says Verizon Internet Access. And of course, I disclaim at the back because I disclaim as to the merits of that. I'm not sure. People were unable to find out exactly the types and speeds that you have.
Yeah.
But that would remain the same.
Okay.
And as you see, I carried it over. The same price that you're currently paying is carried over on our side.
Okay.
You're in a very unusual area because you're really limited in your internet accessibility. So whatever you have, just pray that it works and you continue on.
We just got two-way cable internet in our neighborhood probably like just maybe 5 years ago.
Yeah. So this area is very, very sparse in terms of the availability to bring internet in. But I should mention, just so you know, with this failover that we speak about, that not only it's a bilateral failover, so in the event the voice T1 goes down, this is the redundancy, your voice is passed out and goes out via your internet access.
Okay.
If the internet goes down, for whatever reason, it also passes back and goes out via the T1. Now, voice is given priority, so the speed may be reduced somewhat, but you'll always have internet access and you'll always have voice access.
Any other questions? So thank you for making your presentation.
Thank you
We'll
very
discuss
much.
it and,
Thank
get
you.
back to soon.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
You can go cool off.
Okay, and we got a couple of things I think we can run through. Paul, you've looked at all these and all these approvals here. These are all your recommendations, correct?
Yeah, the first three under new business are recommendations for payments.
Yes.
1 and 3 are specifically my projects and recommending that you make those payments, subject to the conditions in my letter. With respect to the first one, there's 4 conditions. The finance office shouldn't release a check until I confirm that all those conditions have been addressed. One of them is a maintenance bond. And then on the third one, we do need the certified payrolls from Howard Bird and Sons. So the check should be held up until we get those certified payrolls. I'll be talking to H. Bird and Sons tomorrow. The second one is our sewer project, Delane, and I believe there's a certification from Dan Madden relative to the payment of that particular invoice.
Yeah, I believe there is.
Excuse me? Yes.
Okay, so motion to approve payment pursuant to Paul's instructions for new business items 1, 2, and 3.
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Discussion?
Is the Reservoir Road project ongoing? Is it?
It's done.
It's done? It's all done?
It's done. Yeah, I should just take a step back just to let you know that the contractor hit some rock in building the storm sewer line. I was not made aware of it until the job was over. The contractor came back after the fact, was looking for another $2,000 for specific equipment that he had to, I guess, lease to put the pipe in. I have not made any commitment to the contractor whatsoever. He certainly due was $31,800. That was the lump sum bid. And I have to look at the facts. I mean, right now I'm leaning against recommending it, but I'll have a further discussion with the contractor about it. But no guarantee's been made, but the work is done, and actually the job turned out very, very good. And the drainage system functioned very well over the last few days during the rain.
Okay.
You must be happy on Reservoir Road. All right. So, local?
Councilman Beltrán?
Yes.
Councilwoman McCabe?
Yes.
Councilwoman Schneider?
Yes.
Council President Pressley?
Yes.
Yes. Item 4, join municipal consortium to hire Dr. Rochelle, not to exceed $2,000 for work relating to the township's declaratory judgment.
Mayor, I would recommend that you hold this matter until after the second executive. It was placed on the agenda with the anticipation we would have discussed it in executive session and have not gotten to that yet.
Okay. So that's on hold. Legal budget we covered, and we're going to go over that again. And then last item here is of interest to the planning board members. To authorize the planning board, excluding the elected officials, which would be myself and Lou, to prepare a history of block 116, lots 2601, 27, 2702, and 28, off Baltimore. You know the property I mean.
Yes, so may I ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
Why are you excluding the elected?
Because we're going to have to vote on it when it comes in. So I felt it would be better to get your pure input without our involvement.
Is it a planning board matter?
I
or-
know that works out with the adjustment. But we don't, we put the variances.
You're not doing the variance, you're giving us, right.
Saying is we want your input on planning board. You're there de facto. as
There's no
being mayor
exclusion
and
for the members of council voting on planning board matters. The only matters they can't vote on, as Mr. Van Vliet said, is the zoning matters that are variances, because those matters, if appealed, would come to this
Here.
body. So
Right.
they keep you out of those. But the planning board matters, the law allows council members,
So this is kind of a hybrid because it's a zoning change. That's
but they're not seeking a variance.
Yes, no variance.
The only matter you're.
Yes, sir.
It results in a zoning change, but so does a change in the master plan, and we would all vote on the master plan. So I don't really understand. It's just a recommendation, just like a change in the master plan would serve as the basis for a zoning change. So I don't really think there's a legal requirement. I don't know, I would just as much have full participation on it. My preference, but, That's just my input. And Katrina, there's no prohibition, correct?
No.
we're not going to be voting on the planning board, just as a recommendation.
Right.
So the voting happens up here.
If you were a land use board
Right.
on certain
Yeah.
matters, you'd have to excuse yourself.
Okay.
But This is not that case.
All right, then we'll amend this, and I will recommend that we authorize the planning board, including the elected officials, to prepare a history of these block and lots. They're presently zoned commercial, and they tell us why and what their thinking was when that happened, and then whether the board recommends a zoning change to high-density residential back to the full governing body. Is that what we're talking about? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So that would be, do I have a second?
Can,
That was my motion. A second? Second?
Katrina, can you explain to the public, maybe a little simpler, and myself, the lots and blocks and where this is and,
It's between Baltimore and Route 57 by the mini golf place. It's
oh, okay,
Piazza
Yeah.
Farm, so it's-
Piazzas, okay,
Piazza's Farm.
Baltimore
That property.
and,
Developer has come to the planning board a few times informally to discuss the possibility of the property being used for high-density residential.
so right now it's
Presently
being zoned
commercial. There was
commercial.
some discussion as to whether it should stay that way, or should we change the zoning?
So high-density residential means apartment buildings?
Yeah.
Okay,
What is we authorizing exactly? Just to
Yeah.
compare the history?
Yes, because there were some members of the planning board who've been on for a long time, and they have a knowledge of how and why it was zoned the way it is zoned, whether or not we should keep it that way. Some members thought, no, maybe it's been zoned too long that way and nothing's happened, maybe it's time to change. So,
Are you looking for a recommendation from the planning board?
yes.
Oh, I see it.
so we're just asking for a recommendation, we're not voting on whether this
Oh,
is
no, no,
going to
not
change or
voting.
not? This is all just recommendation? Okay, just to get the history,
That's it.
okay.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Right.
Be done here.
Yeah. We're asking for your
Can you-
help to help us do it.
They can't hear you.
Mr. Van Vliet wanted to clarify that the zoning board isn't going to make the change in zoning, that they're just going to help prepare this report, and that any costs that might be associated with that should be, considered by the township. There won't be much, no. Okay, he just wanted to remind us of that.
Thank you.
Actually, I think the applicant should pay for it.
I would imagine, yeah.
I think what he was saying was that as part of your recommendation, you would explain the process and the cost.
Mr. Van Vliet, was what you said that as part of the planning board's recommendation, you would discuss the cost involved with, what is it? So what they're asking to do, or? I just wanted to
No.
clarify.
Basically, you're asking us to do the study.
He said, you're talking about the cost of the study, right, Gary? Yeah, the cost of the study.
So the planning board's professionals would provide an estimate for the escrow, and then we would have, I would recommend that this council have the applicant place that money in escrow before the planning board do any study.
Okay,
That would be the planning board's professionals that would give their opinion as to what is necessary in the escrow to do the work. Okay.
okay,
The township wouldn't be paying for any.
okay.
Okay. Moving right along to council reports.
Well, let me go ahead.
Oh.
So we need to,
Oh, you didn't roll call? I thought we roll call.
Yep.
Roll call. Roll call.
Councilman Delgado.
Yes.
Councilwoman McVeigh.
Yes.
Councilwoman Schneider.
yes,
Council President Trumbull.
Yes.
And
Yes. Now we move on to council reports. Maureen?
Yes. Okay, EDAC did not meet in May, so we are planning to meet later in the month of June. As far as buildings and grounds, we have a couple of things. One is we had an issue recently with the electricity up to the pavilion. Now, I know Brian's working on it, so if he wants to come up later or now, he can discuss it, but he's been, it took quite a long time for them to, I don't even know if the issue is resolved yet. It's not. So we're still have that issue to work on over by the pavilion and the clubhouse, I think it was back there. So if you could come up to the mic and tell us, that would be helpful. Just to give us a quick update. I appreciate it.
Up at the park, we have the pavilion, and we have the parking lot lights, and power jumps over to the monument. All the power is from a transformer down by the snack bar for football. It's two separate leads. All right, one runs across the road, comes all the way up through the park, hits the pavilion. That was put in 1967. And the other one was put in, I'm going to estimate, I think it was about 8 years ago. All right, Paul, somewhere in that range. That one runs on the opposite side in the weeds, comes right on up straight through. What happened is, on the Y, we lost a leg at the power. So we don't have 220 anymore. We only have 120 going up there, 110. One in the pavilion and one in the parking lot lights. So right now, the power company is helping us out. They put jumpers in, gave us things, but we have no 220. We just are able to run the whole building. So I got a company coming in to troubleshoot it underground. They're supposed to be here tomorrow sometime. They've been here a couple times. First time the machine broke. First company I had, they couldn't figure it out at all. The second one is referred by a power company. Power company will not do it because it's commercial. They can't, it's not their job to do that. All right, so we're on our own. Just an idea. We haven't put it all together yet, so I'm just giving you some feedback a little. I want to abandon the one that comes to 1967. All right, coming down the pole. And when we find where the break is on the other, we want to put a box and then just transfer right on over to the pavilion. All right, to that, meter there. All right, it's on 4-wire. I checked the power company. It'll be fine to carry all the load. It will pretty much be there. All right, so that should save us some money. But right now, we're running on free power. All right, meters.
Keep it up as long as
it's out. All right, so thank the power company for that, I guess is what I'm saying to you. So the pavilion and everything keeps up and running. If not, you wouldn't have half the pavilion working. So that's where we're at. Tomorrow I should know a lot more about that. And so if you see the park dug up, that's what we're doing.
Right. And it's aluminum wire. So it's,
that's what it's going to be.
It kind of breaks. The old style aluminum wire. Yeah. This is better.
Thank you, Brian. I'm also speaking of the Veterans Memorial up there. This is sort of a building and an insurance issue, but they had asked if they would be allowed to have volunteers come and help spruce it up. Fix the landscaping, maybe water the plants. I discussed it with our insurance carrier, and he stated that, if it's a volunteer issue, that's acceptable. But again, as with any other person or business doing business with the town, they need to provide us that certificate of insurance for coverage for in case there's any issues. So I will touch base again with the veterans and make sure that they know that they're allowed to continue to do that. Brian doesn't have an issue as well. Some of them might want to cut the lawn. I think they want to do a field of flags again.
Yeah.
Yes. They want it looking prestigious.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yes.
Absolutely allowed.
He needs to find a way.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right. And they're also, by the way, having, I believe, a flag burning ceremony on June 14th, Flag Day. I think that they getting their permit. They're in progress with getting that. We will post some more information on our website when we have it. I'm not sure of the times and things like that.
It's on there, 6:30.
So is it on 6:30? Okay, PM. All right.
These are tattered flags, we assume.
Yes. Yes. Flag burning ceremony. Right. And additionally, the vets would like to, in the vein of keeping the memorial looking nice and spruced up, they need access to water. So what they're currently doing is some of them are bringing up buckets of water in their cars, and, you know, sometimes they're trying to feed a hose across the road from the pavilion. So, you know, I had discussed with Brian, would it be possible to set up a water line coming from the pavilion over to that monument? And Brian said was, and it would be a minimal. We got a trench anyway. Okay. Okay. Right. So I think, yeah, I think it would be a worthwhile thing to have the vets have access to water, so if they're going to make it look nice, that they have the ability to do that. Underground frosted, frost freeze, yes. So I think we need to, and I'm not sure, we need to have the council vote on authorizing that work to be done. So I'm making the motion that we authorize that work to be done.
Second.
Okay. And then do we need to take a vote?
Yeah, roll call.
Oh, there's a vote. Yes.
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 Okay, thanks. And I have two more things. Senior citizens, we've been discussing an ordinance, a rent leveling ordinance, well, back and forth, but it hasn't come before the board yet. So we're hoping to discuss that and be able to bring the issues to our next meeting's month. Sorry for the delays, but we need to do a little history checking on the issue and make sure we're all on the same page and making the correct amendments to the current ordinance within, you know, the law. So I just want to let you know we did not forget about you. It's in the works. It's just things move very slowly. So you're up next. Next is LAA. As you may or may not know, LAA is planning on, they would like to form a 501c3, which means they want to disconnect from being under the umbrella of the township, kind of go out on their own under a 501c3. So they're working on the paperwork and getting insurance estimates and issues like that. To go along with that, we are holding their money. So they, of course, then that's their money. They get to take it with them. But I think what we should do is really do some sort of a, I don't know what it would be called, a spot check or something to make sure that the account is in balance, to make sure what's coming in, what's getting paid, and so that when we give them their money, we're giving them the right amount, that there's no, you know, follow-up issues or discussions as to this is the wrong amount, or you should have X amount of dollars and you only have this amount of dollars. So I'd like to recommend that we do some sort of a spot check on the LAA. I think it's in the trust fund account. So I don't know if there's a way to...
The other trust?
Yeah. So if there's a way to do that, just so that when they do go, that money they have, at least that one issue won't be any issues with it. We'll all have the, I don't know, the audit or whatever it's called, and say, yes, you know, here's what we started with, here's, you know, what was deducted, here's what came in, here's what we paid. So I just recommend that maybe we do that. I don't know if that's something we need to vote on, but I think it would be in our best interest so that there's no questions down the road or a year later when it's very difficult to figure out what happened. So
I think it would be wise to move it into a separate bank account right now, under the township's control.
Well, they're making the decision to pull out and form a 501c3.
Yes, I know, but in the interim period, if we put it into a separate bank account, it would operate under there for a while.
Well, is it worth it if they're leaving in like 2 months?
They're leaving very soon.
We made the council made the decision to switch banking providers. So,
Yes.
in the process of that transition,
Right.
the new bank now has a separate physical account and everything.
That's what I saw, yes.
The text just came in today,
Okay.
so
Okay.
we're not physically there yet. Right. The accounts are open.
So I guess we just have to figure out like the ins and outs, where we stand. I mean, I guess the treasurer will have to sit with you to figure out what he has outstanding. And,
Right.
Yeah.
You'd have 2 months operating in a separate bank.
Yeah.
So that the transfers.
Because I'm envisioning that they would take a good portion of their money, figure out what they still have out there in checks and leave that, and then have to double back.
Right. Right. So I'm not sure if we need
Yeah,
to.
I don't know what you have to do at this point.
Yeah, I don't know if that's some sort of audit that we have to vote on or approve, but maybe if we're doing that, maybe we should do a little spot check on our accounts and just make sure they're up to date and, you know, there's nothing, no confusions, nothing outstanding that we don't know about. Just want some thoughts or opinions.
Or maybe the LAA CFO could meet with our CFO here and just discuss what they think they need to do. I don't know that it would, I don't think it'd be that difficult to do this, do you?
No. So. we can do
Especially if
that,
we have
and
the
then
account separated.
Right.
Everything has to, if they're moving money out, I'm just directing it to the auditors. Do you need to come in and look at it, or no? Look at their piece, or?
If we're engaged to do something that you're wanting to begin with, so if you want us to come out and procedures associated with that, we could come in and do interim work and look at that specific account.
Right.
And it's all part of the following.
It's all part of the following year audit.
Right. So maybe that would be a worthwhile event, just to make sure it's, I just don't want to have any issues after they pull out, and then it's a couple months down the road, and people, places, everything has changed, and then nobody knows anything. So I just thought maybe we can do that while we're at it. I don't know, would it be worthwhile to look at our books? I mean, is that something that would take a while, or?
To look at the trust fund, shouldn't take more than a day.
Okay. Right.
Is that an extra charge for that, or is that also
Considered with the,
15 on it?
Oh, wait, okay, all right. So, yeah, I would definitely like to make a motion to do that, just so they, so this way you can give something to our treasurer, and he can make sure his books are in order, and then if there are any, he feels, maybe he's missing a deposit, or he's missing checks, or he forgot to give, or they can get their stuff in order.
Okay. And it would be worthwhile to look at our books in general? Is that something we could do at this, like, kind of a spot check in time to make sure?
We're almost 6 months into the year.
Yeah, we're 6 months in.
Review, come out. It's not unrealistic.
Right.
We've done it in other clients before. We'll come out, spend a couple of days.
Okay.
Review bank statements, bank accounts.
Okay.
Look at some disbursements, some receipts. Again, if you're moving this money, if you focus some attention to just the LAA account.
Right.
Just to make sure it's complete.
Right.
The money's there, and you're good to move on with it.
Right. Be good.
If you're doing all of our accounts, is that, again, not a fee?
Well, if we're it depends on what the scope of it is. If we're doing stuff beyond the scope of the audit, it would be. But that's something that we would do as an interim procedure. That would be part of it.
Okay, so
No, there wouldn't be additional fees.
Okay.
To do that.
who's going to do the scope of that?
Well, we're taking a 6-month period, and we're just giving you a spot check to make sure things are up to date.
Okay.
Through the first 6 months.
Right.
We're not going to look at every transaction.
You're not doing like a mini audit, you're just doing a...
We're doing some interim procedures, more of a limited scope, and when we come back to do the full audit, we'll include that with what papers, the first step.
Okay, so I just want to get it straight, so there will not be a charge at all? Okay.
All right, do we need to vote on that, or what do we do with that?
I don't think so.
Okay, then we don't.
If
That's
you
all I
get it
have.
done, then we can get Bob in, our treasurer, and he can bring in his.
There's no money spent.
Okay, that's all I have for my report. Thank you.
Lori?
Just to follow up on the LAA, they this year, well, in 2014, the board of directors chose to rename their scholarship fund. It's the LAA Scholar Athlete Scholarship. They chose to rename it in honor of Patrick McCluskey, who had been a very vibrant part of the Lopatcong Athletic Association for many years. This was the first year that they were able to issue the scholarship. It went to 2 students who are graduating, Bridget Carroll and Kylie Devlin, both who played sports in Lopatcong and played sports at Peaburg. Cheerleading signups they're having an in-person sign-up. They haven't done this in a while. They're doing it on Tuesday, June 9th. It's at the pavilion from 6 to 7:30. Our football program is open to children of all towns, and so is cheerleading. So anybody interested, you can go down there. It's $65 to sign up for flags, peewees, biddies, and midgets. Correct, just a reminder, our community day is 8:15. We're getting a lot of vendors in and making our plans. We're going to roll out some of our fundraisers at that day. We are also, one of the things that I was talking to Clerk Dilts about is, as I was going through some of my stuff, I found the 150th anniversary history book that we did and realized that in 2017 we're having the 50th anniversary of the pool because it opened in 1967. So I'm going to bring to my rec meeting that we're going to start a committee that's open to anybody. So if any members want to be on it, we want to do a celebration at the pool in 2017 to celebrate the 50th anniversary and kind of recreate what had happened when they first opened, like the fashion show and all that. Try to get as many people who actually helped build that come. Shade Tree, they're working on their forest management plan. Board of Ed. At this Board of Ed meeting, I think everybody is very pleased to announce that 6 out of the top 10 students graduating from Peaburg High School are from Lopatcong. 5 of them attended Lopatcong schools. 1 of them did attend St. Philip St. James. We're also very proud to say that both the valedictorian and the salutatorian are from Lopatcong Township. I'll list them in order: Michelle Bai, Daniel Shar, Monica Honig, Victoria Garal, who I believe is number 6, Stuart Bebo, and Kenny Chang. So to have 6 out of the 10 come from this town is pretty impressive. Also, they have 21 students, I believe, registered for full-day kindergarten. They have to pay a price, I believe it's $4,800 a year, but that's a great program that they were able to get off the ground, so they don't have to go to like a daycare center or anything like that. These children will actually be right in Lopatcong enjoying full-day kindergarten. Also, the Delaware Park School is up for auction. I believe they had an open house last week. And they're looking to finally get rid of that and get that off their books, and that'll definitely help the taxes. There's just a couple of items that came into me from the outside. One was our court. I know our judge has, our judge Bruce Jones is no longer with us because he's now going to be a Superior Court judge. And do we have an interim judge right now?
Yes, the judiciary appointed.
Who do they appoint?
His name is Menon.
Okay. William Menon. Now, we have to appoint,
we're not, there's no great hurry. I think Mrs. Dilts has advertised.
Okay.
We've gotten a couple.
I haven't advertised yet. I talked to you all about that.
Okay. All right. It might be an opportunity, too, to look into this for shared services. It might be something to go over to the shared services committee. And also, it was brought to our attention about the fire truck. I know it's listed for $60,000 right now. During the bidding process, would we be able to lower that if we don't get any bids? Or is it just like a one-time deal and then we have to relist it?
Yes.
We have to relist it? And then you have to relist it?
Yeah, I think so.
I know it's going to remain outside for the whole time, or?
Well, I asked for it to go inside, but
We have no space?
no room.
Yep. Are there any other townships that maybe have some space? Maybe we could ask Chief LaFleur. I can reach out to him. I'll ask him. That was it.
Okay. First off, Clean Communities, Recycling, DPW. We finally, Lynn Gable of Hope Township and myself, finally reported our tonnage report to the state. It was quite a process in trying to get businesses around here to give tonnage reports. Some were very forthcoming and did it in a timely manner. Others took a couple of phone calls, and some I did not get at all. In the short period that I had, it was we did manage to come up with 6,000 tons of recycling this year. Last year we had 5,787. So I'm glad I managed to bring the number up with a short amount of time. Our report was late, but Joe Davis with the state was very accommodating. They'd rather have a recycling report at late than not. So we are finally complete with that, and I would also like to put out that for next year's, starting in December, we start issuing recycling reports, recycling requests to our businesses, and it's sending out a letter or going to each business, asking them, handing them the letter to save costs, and making sure that we collect all their reports. That position is available. I know we get grant money to hire somebody to do that, and you don't need any credentials. You just need to be have some willpower and go out and make sure you get all the reports and collect them, and we would send them over to have somebody input them. So it's really just collecting the reports and making sure people are doing what they're supposed to do at their businesses and recycle properly. So if anybody's interested or knows someone who's interested, please feel free to give them our number, give them my number, and we can discuss something that we can get going in December. Also, DPW, Greenwich Township contacted me to talk about shared service for leaf pickup. They don't have a leaf pickup at all in Greenwich, so I think we're pretty fortunate that we do. We wound up talking, and it came to be that there really can't be a shared service. We need all of our equipment all the time because of the amount of leaves that we pick up from the community. However, Brian was very helpful to the Greenwich mayor and to their new DPW supervisor in letting them know how to start a leaf pickup and where to start, how to start small and work your way up, and it's the equipment that works and doesn't work. So they spent quite some time talking about equipment. It came down to they have some equipment that we need, we have some equipment that they need, and as we do with most townships around here, there's an honor system that they borrow each other's equipment. If the equipment breaks, they split the cost. If there's maintenance, they split the cost. And we agreed to add Greenwich in our rounds of sharing because you know, we could use anything we can get to not have to purchase more equipment. So if we can do that, that would be great. And so they've agreed, the two DPW supervisors agreed to keep in contact and help each other out as much as they can. We went over shared service, and I do have a couple of things for administrative and executive personnel level, liaison 2. I was appointed to this level, this position in January, and it seems that another council person here has taken the role for themselves. The mayor appointed me, and on our website it shows that council person as being the liaison. The mayor never told that person to put it on the website, and this is my position and this is my role, and I would really appreciate if council can advise on how to ensure that liaison positions are being not shared and not just taken. Do you have any suggestions, Katrina? Sorry, Council.
Well, I believe Mr. Wenner sent you a memo detailing when you are liaison 2 and when council president is responsible for duties of the mayor. But as far as what information is on the website, council can direct that anything be changed at any time. So if any that's inaccurate, you could just direct it be changed.
Okay, I never received that memo from Mr. Wenner.
You wrote back to him and said, I disagree with you. I'll send it to you.
Okay, yeah, it wasn't, that was another topic. Also, there's no statute listed that says that.
It's in your charter.
I didn't read it in the charter. If you can provide me with that, I would appreciate it. But I don't recall any of that being in our charter or being allowed to happen. So appreciate if you get back to me on that. Thank you.
Yeah, that is an open issue. We have to, you know. I think I gave those appointments in writing. I said I gave the appointments in writing when I became mayor. And I guess something happened along the way, but we have to make sure that those who were properly appointed fulfill those roles. Okay.
And just one more thing, and I will let everybody go. Well, 2 more things actually. Finance committee, in going through the budget this year and looking at subsequent numbers, I've noticed that we've been paying $6,000 for our auditors to do our budget. I don't know why that is, but we have we have employees that are here to do that, and I'm not sure why we've been paying $6,000 every year to do a budget. I'm pretty sure in every township, the finance office does the budget, and to pay $6,000 for a budget, I think is way out of where we should be spending our money. So I would like to, I guess next year we're going to have to try and figure something out on, I don't recall voting to do that. I never came across my desk to say yes to a $6,000 charge, nor was it in the agreement between the township and the auditors for pay-to-play. So I'm not sure why $6,000 every year is being paid to that, but I certainly don't approve of that, and I will do something to stop that from happening, because we do have a CFO that is doing our budget. So I'd like to get that cleaned up. And also, there have been some things going around the township, and I just want to say to you folks that I was elected to come in and make some tough choices and some change, and I am staying on task, and I'd like to stay on task. I'm not focusing on cell phones and cameras and lawsuits and other people's homes. I'm focusing on tax dollars and how to save money. The CFO, myself, it's all her trying to get her phone bill cut. It's all her trying to look for new ways to save money. And when she brings it to me, it's pretty exciting to know that we can actually make these changes. I don't want the focus to be my house and my cell phone. There was a not so nice letter that went to folks in this township, but actually a not so nice picture of myself or the mayor. When I read it, it was a little disturbing, and then when I read even further down, it said it was paid for by Leadership PAC for Better Government with Rob Larson as the chairman and CFO. I didn't know what the PAC was and who was paying for this, so I looked it up. And it seems that the donators to the PAC are Florio Perucci Steinhardt Law Firm, Mazer Consulting, Lavery Salvaggio, Mr. DiGirolamo of the Bridge Authority. These are all folks that support this kind of propaganda, and I would hope that the folks up here that work for those places would certainly that donate, would certainly think twice about where they're donating their money, because I found it quite despicable to put some half-truths and some awful picture up just to try and make a point here. So on that note, I will say I'm trying to stay on task with what you voted me in for. Thank you.
Thank you, Donna. And good work with the tonnage report. You saved us a few $1,000.
Thanks.
Lou, you got good news for us on that sewer? Come on. I'm waiting.
A couple things. Yesterday, they finally got power to the station, and so tomorrow they're planning on the schedule of various vendors for testing the startup. That's where we are with that, with the pump station. Number two, contractor is going to be coming up soon for Chapman that takes care of all of our lines in town, the maintenance and wastewater collection system. So the township will be sending out bid package for the contract. It's normally a 2-year contract, calling for a 1-year additional year, bringing it to 3 if we exercise that right. And we have in the past. So Chapman right now they're in the 3rd year, and it's going to expire in August. So the bid packages will be going out soon. And that's it.
Yeah.
All right. I believe that we were going to get some more information using the money that's in the grant loan that we were using to improve the sewer system. That there might be money left, and we would consider using that for some other related projects. Has there been any further discussion on that?
Dan has been in contact with the USDA regarding various questions regarding the use of the remaining available funds. And there are a lot of procedures that they have to follow. So right now, they're hoping to sit down with Chapman soon and go over the areas that's needed. It's just a matter of scheduling that right now.
Okay, so they're on top of it, they're
Yeah,
just gonna get.
yeah, we'll sit down with Chapman and,
All right, very good.
and go over the
We could have
details.
some economies there if we play it right.
I have a question too about the sewer. The overtime for the police is eventually going to need to be charged to that somehow.
Overtime?
The overtime for the police, yeah. So I don't, when they're going through to see what's
Well,
left, it's,
I think, that the overtime, when they do the detail,
yeah,
I believe that's in the part of the contract.
it is, but we need to do the chargeback. So just realize that money, I think, has to go, right?
Yeah, the police overtime runs through the current fund budget.
Right.
And then a bill is generated to the contractor for any road duty.
Right.
And then that reimburses the
That'll
current
come
fund
out of
budget.
that fund.
Yeah, it doesn't get charged to sewer. It gets reimbursed when the contractor pays it.
Okay, so the contractor's actually going to pay it, so we don't take it out of.
Right.
Any
Okay.
road duty that a police officer works, the vendor receives an
Okay, good.
invoice.
Yes, all right.
And then when they pay it, it reimburses the budget.
We
So
actually
there's no
pay
charge to the
through that.
taxpayer.
Right, yeah, I just wanted to
Right.
make sure that, in
Sorry.
case it's coming
Yeah.
out of that fund.
Yes.
Right, we get reimbursed from the contractor.
Okay,
Yes.
100% plus administrative fees.
Right,
Right,
Plus parking.
because it is included in the bid package
okay, good.
when we do the project.
Should have been.
Yeah, it is.
And we pay them before the money gets to us. We pay them their overtime, we don't make them wait.
Go ahead.
The manhole covers in the developments around about, have come up. Your monies for the sewer, all right, since we're taking out money out of my department to be able to spend, to be able to fix that, should come now from the sewer.
Well,
All right, if you're looking to do projects, let's protect all the roads so I don't wreck your sewer pipes
Right, I
under.
discussed that with Post Urbans and also Dan
Is
Natick,
that possible?
that if the monies, from the grant, $800,000 could be used,
Okay.
to do the cracks that we
Yeah, I got
believe,
2-inch cracks in
right,
those.
that we believe that the sewer has created.
Right.
Going from curb to curb, right, so they're into, finding out that, because it is part of the sewer problem that
Right.
caused the crack, because it
Okay, so
doesn't come out of your budget.
It's being addressed.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Lou. I guess if I have one, I only have a couple little things. There's been some question, it appears, out there about how much debt the township has. And the easiest way for people to find that out is to go on the website and pull up the annual debt statement, which is there. The last one, they've done it annually, sent to the state. At the end of 2014, the annual debt, the gross debt, excluding the schools, was $11,505,056.
That's right.
All right. Now, in addition to that, there is anticipated additional debt when certain of these large tax assessment settlement cases happen. I mean, the amount they've asked for is in excess of that. We hope we can do better. It's still in court, but we're thinking that could add maybe, a lot to that, but hopefully not, maybe 7 figures, low 7 figure, or maybe high 6 if we're real lucky. So when that happens, the thing will go back up again. Now, as an ongoing thing, I guess about $400,000 a year gets paid down in principal, the way the debt structured now. So every year we go down from the principal repayments that are required with the amortization of the bonds. But sometimes we have to borrow additional funds like we did recently for the fire engine. So, but it's generally staying in that range, that $11.5 to $12.5 million range, it looks like, for the near future. And one of the things I tried to do with the budget is that we have to start, I think, making provision, and that means maybe either cutting more things or increasing taxes down the line so we can get maybe a better payment thing going for the debt and try to extinguish it a little earlier than we have now. In addition, we have very little in the way of reserves. And, you know, I'd like to see $1 million there, but I don't think, how much do we have?
It was 300,000.
300,000, yeah, so we would like to see that build up as well over time. So these are two things that I know are unpopular because you don't see immediate results, but sound fiscal management would suggest that going forward, we didn't do it this year, it wasn't popular, but we should do it next year. I think we have to start building those things back up. You never know when a bad thing is going to happen, and if you have the money there already, then you can meet your problem and pay for it. That's generally the message I'm trying to give. It's you know, it's like your own home. You know, if you put money away for a new car over the years and the old car breaks and you have the money, buy the new car cash, you know, you're in pretty good shape. If you have to go out and, you know, pocket 100%, then you're not in such good shape. So that's
How
my
much of that
report on
is for the
debt.
sewer? The 3 million, right? And we're not going to use all that? We haven't used all of
That
that?
is correct. The way the sewer was drawn down, the sewer money, all 3 million was drawn down. It was put in like a checking account. And we're using it to pay for stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll give back what we don't use.
Yeah, unless we find
And that's
good
self-liquidating.
projects.
Only the sewer people pay that.
Right, the sewer is self-liquidating.
Right.
It doesn't count.
That's
against
not what
the township debt.
self-liquidating means. Self-liquidating means it's debt that pays down by itself.
It's still a debt, but the sewer.
Sewer is self-liquidating
people pay for the sewer,
utility.
It goes paying down that debt. It does not come out of the taxes.
It comes out of the sewer money,
It's
yes.
a utility.
That is correct.
It's a utility.
To the extent that the money comes into the sewer utility that
Right.
is adequate to pay that debt, it will be
Right.
paid through that
But
money.
the $3 million
There's no guarantee.
that the sewer is not counted against the capacity of this township's total debt. We're about 25% of that
So
total.
about for state computation for additional debt, yeah, there's formulas that you use.
We're
Yes,
at 25%, way below where the red line would be. We're well below.
But we still have bond capacity, yes.
Yeah.
But we
The
don't-
sewer's
we don't
not
want to
No,
do
no, I'm not saying we want more
Yeah.
debt.
that.
But
No, we don't want more debt. The sewer's not
the
included
point
in
is
that,
the
though.
sewer bill, the sewer is self-liquidating.
The sewer,
Okay, so
sewer
we-
system is an example of what I just said. Had we left the money in the sewer entity, instead of buying trucks with it over the years and doing things like that, when it came time to have to improve the sewer utility, we would have been able to pay for it with cash. But we didn't do that. We took the money out over time, and it was used for this, used for that, and that's
Well,
just what happened. So, but had it stayed there, we wouldn't have had to borrow the 3 million, and, you know, we could just use them to save money.
You know,
It's a good way to do it.
the money that was, and it's legal to do, they can transfer it from the sewer, okay, to the general budget. It was done so it didn't have to be a tax burden on the taxpayers, okay? So you pay one way or the other. Either you
You're
pay,
just pushing the burden down the line.
you pay one way or the other, either by raising taxes or, you know, borrowing the money from here. But one way you're gonna pay.
Yeah, and this was a USDA
Right. Exactly.
grant, which is an extremely low.
We're
rate.
fortunate to
Yeah.
get that.
Yeah, very fortunate.
Whoever got that did a good job. And it's got a component that is a grant.
Yeah, a grant,
So,
yeah.
Yeah,
You get almost $1 million back in that.
Yeah, I think
But as far as debt goes, if you want to compare it to municipalities, we're way below. You know, I'm not saying any debt. Just like if you guys want to get credit, you want to get a mortgage, if you never had debt in your life, it would be impossible for you to get any kind of mortgage. So a little debt, it helps the rating of the township. But you got to keep it in balance. You have to keep it in check.
Oh, yeah.
And listen, and let's talk about the debt since we're on the subject. Most of the debt is the parks. Okay, and I
I
said
know
this
that.
before, $5 to $6 million that the people voted for.
I know.
And then additional monies to do Strikers Road.
Mhm.
And then, of course, the tax appeals.
Right.
So it isn't
Solar panels,
expending,
got solar panels.
it wasn't,
Solar panels, yeah,
the solar
generator
panels,
money.
okay? It wasn't a spending spree that the people went on here and started buying all kinds of crap. This is
Exactly.
legitimate debt.
Mhm.
Okay.
Thank you, Lou.
Okay.
No one's saying that it's not debt, that it's not legitimate.
Illegitimate debt.
Yeah, no one's saying it's not legitimate. We know 6 million or whatever went to the park.
Yes.
And we know that there's appeals. Everybody knows that, but that it doesn't matter what you spent it on. We still owe the money.
Exactly. So what do? You pay it down.
How do you pay it
Where's
down
it
when you
down?
when you don't have a reserve? You've drained everything and you keep raising taxes and spending it all.
Well, the thing is, this is why I support building a surplus. We have to build the surplus back up. And
How do you
it's gonna
build a
take time.
surplus when you cut another? I mean, cutting is great. I'm all
Cut
for
that out.
cutting,
We tried
but
to
you
do
can't.
But it's all right, let's let her. I said for next year. I really want to do that next year. We'll talk about it
Listen, the
again.
bills get paid, right? And the debt will get paid. You
The
know what?
bills don't get paid. We can't even afford to buy Brian a truck.
We're long and gone, everybody here. When we're not here no more, guess what? The debt will still be there for future generation. Who else they gonna bring up? I mean, it's a
The
matter
park
of life.
actually started back in the
There's always
90s.
debt somewhere along the line in this country, in the state, and friggin' local level. Let's get over this stupid stuff.
Yeah, I know.
Holy mackerel, this debt. You got this like a gloom and doom, like the sky's gonna fall on us.
It is. Look what happened. The sky fell on Brian and we can't even afford to replace his stuff.
Next time, it's
I really don't think that was the debt's fault.
Holy mackerel. Enough already. This, silly argument.
I asked the mayor of Greenwich when he was here sharing service with Leeds, and he said their debt is just a little under $1 million.
Oh, yeah. Look, they have ShopRite and Home Depot.
So we're not comparable with other folks, and I'll ask all around.
Let's give up the park.
No one said that, Lou. We're saying you don't pay the debt. You just tax and you spend it. There's no surplus. You've wasted everything away. I'm not saying you.
Yeah, not him.
It's been wasted away. There's no
All
surplus.
right, let's get past it, all right? And
We're trying to by making a budget that works.
Let's make it past it, and let's pay down the debt, all right? And let's stop scaring folks around town that the freaking sky's gonna fall on them because we got this huge debt. And if you're gonna say that, explain to them what that debt is. Because they don't know what it is.
It doesn't matter what it is, it's debt. The debt is debt.
If you tell them what it is, they go, oh, really? I didn't know that.
Oh,
I
yeah?
didn't know we spent $6 million on the park to people voted.
Go ask people on fixed incomes.
Move along.
Let's get past it. Let's move on.
You're right, let's pay it.
The thing is that the debt service is very costly.
It is. Okay, we know that. We know that. We know it's an issue. It's been an issue. Okay, so we have to pay it.
We were
So we paid
the
for it.
largest
How are you gonna
rural town in Warren County in
Forget
the 2000s. We grew, we tripled. There's no way we ever would have had that much money to do these things. Did we need a park? No, but the people voted and they wanted it.
How does that rationale make, when you triple, that means people bought houses and they're contributing to the tax? So where's the money? So you should have an
Increase the road. No, that doesn't work out that way.
Yeah, with that, when you're talking about just the growth in that little bit of period?
The voters voted on the park. That's the biggest part.
All right, come on, we're finished with that. All right,
Dead horse.
Right.
all right, the next thing is a payment of bills.
No, we missed CFO
What?
engineer.
Oh, CFO engineer, yeah. She already reported, so. Paul kind of reported, but he might have
Yeah,
one.
two minor things, Mr. Mayor. As you know, we've been talking to the homeowner at 315 North Prospect Street about getting a sewer easement to address a problem that we have with one of our sewer lines. In the course of those discussions, the property owner has brought up a couple problems outside the realm of the sewer easement. One is that there's a drainage problem in front of their house. Another is that when the developer built the subdivision, the wires leading to their house, their service wires are too low. I'd like to get authorization to look at the drainage problem and also look at the wires, and if it is low, try to contact the power company, a telephone company. This is something I would do out of my monthly stipend. It would not be a separate job opened up.
Okay.
So I just want to get your authorization to do that.
Please do it. I know the problem. Didn't you went there and swept away all the pebbles and it drained again? Wasn't that?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Here's the problem, they don't wanna move their car, I can't see, it's not there.
Yeah, okay.
Do we need to vote on that?
No.
Do we need a
It's no
motion?
cost.
Motion?
Is there any cost?
It's going to be my monthly stipend, so it's not going to be a separate job, and I'll be billing separate. So it's something you've already budgeted for. The other thing, Mayor, is on the USDA sewer loan, we were talking last month about the possibility of being able to utilize monies to address Baltimore Street due to the impacts from the trenching that was done.
Correct.
Mr. Madden and I had a discussion about that today. He pointed out to me that there's some very strict standards as to the use of that money for that purpose. I actually, after looking at the language, I don't think that's something we're going to be able to get approved. So I would really abandon that thought, at least with that issue. I think if you're going to use any more of those loan monies, you should really dedicate it specifically to the utility items, the sewer items. You have enough problems here in the
We
township.
talked about the smoke test.
Yeah. So I think I do have a recommendation in this regard. I would recommend that you seek DOT monies, and you have two choices there. One is to wait till August when they announce their fiscal year 2016 program and seek monies to improve Baltimore Street. The other alternative is to seek a discretionary aid grant, and you can do that anytime. You can do that, this month, quite honestly, if you want to do that, and we can put the grant application together to try to get those monies, and we can address some of the issues that the federal money would want us to address, which would be the handicap ramps all along Baltimore Street. So those are my two recommendations. You can go either, or you can wait a few months till the standard program comes out, or you can seek a discretionary aid grant.
Which do you think is our best shot?
I would go for the discretionary aid money, because you can ask for more money. You can do it anytime, and and they're awarding that money several times a year. It's a much smaller group of projects, but we can contact people we know and put a good word in for the project and lobby for the project. So I think that might be the way to go, rather than waiting 2-3 months and then waiting another 6-7 months for them to make a decision. You may get an answer sooner rather than later under that approach.
Okay, I got you. This is something we should do a resolution. If you are favorable to doing this, I would think it's a good idea to see what's out there. I mean, it's discretionary aid. We're going to get some money. We might as well try it. That's my view. What do you think?
We should definitely do it, yeah.
Yeah.
Do we need a resolution?
I think so, because there's a cost in it.
Well, I think there's enough money in my line item to cover this. You're only looking at about $1,000 to $1,500 to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And there is a resolution, but it's going to be an enabling resolution, which I'll prepare for you, which will enable the application to be filed. I would have that for your next meeting.
Okay, fine. Thank you, Paul.
Thanks. I'll get it done.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Bills.
It's the approved department reports.
Oh, that's right. Resolution approved department reports.
Motion.
Second. Aye.
Favor? Aye. Now, bills. We have a bill list of $1,738,525.04. Motion to approve.
Motion.
Second.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor? Oh, you roll call, yes. What?
Yes.
Yes.
Councilwoman Schneider?
Yes.
Council President Jessup?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, now we're on to audience participation. What? I have to make a motion to go into that. Motion to go into audience participation?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Yes, Mr. Peter.
That is me.
Yes.
Thank you. I have a couple things. First thing, I don't know if I write it down. I don't want to run out of time. Would like to ask Mrs. McCabe what the status is of the access road for Overlook. Haven't heard anything for the longest time. You promised the people they're getting a road. I don't think they've gotten a road. Was wondering if you guys actually apologized to Kathy. Is that going to happen? Because it should happen. I'm surprised at the letter, which really was 4-5 paragraphs, that was something which created such great confusion, but I think she deserves an apology. The COA stuff, I believe Katrina is wrong. It's not executive session stuff. I would appreciate, Mayor, if you could contact the League of Municipalities. I will call Valco Lewis tomorrow to make sure that Katrina is wrong, because she has been wrong plenty times. I don't think that is in any way executive material. I have lists here of monies which are moving around for trust funds, which I believe to be illegal. That is not executive stuff. Lastly, Lori, as our a resident computer expert, and you wanted to give our computer guy a contract last month out of courtesy, I believe, and then you said you spent already X amount of dollars. I got the purchase orders. For whatever reason, we're paying on website hosting $4,000 a year.
I think this website and email together, I believe.
Would you say that is a reasonable amount?
If we roll over, we're on there.
Excuse me?
I'll start looking for a cheaper one.
I looked,
We're here
we
for the year.
have 38 emails, and we have one website. 38 emails, we have one website. The other price, I think $4,200. I understand it's our auditor's son. And
Not our
GoDaddy.
auditor's son.
GoDaddy.
Really?
No, what is he?
Misinformation.
Okay.
Misinformation.
GoDaddy will offer you unlimited website hosting, 1,000 email addresses, all the tech support you want, for the total. Maureen, I'm talking.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, GoDaddy for municipal building?
Yeah, why not?
Continue.
Why not? Do you know what the website is currently hosted? I do know. So they give, the hosting they offer is $14 a month for a website of, and Laura will probably assure you that that is more than sufficient. We will get 1,000 email addresses, and I have a couple competing quotes, and they're all in the range of $20 a month, $7, $14 a month. I do not know why in the world we pay $4,000 for it. I understand our email system is more than antiquated, and I would like to hear from Lori why we pay $4,000.
When we rolled over, we're there, what? Yeah, I know, it's public comment.
Excuse me?
This isn't public comment, not Q&A.
Mayor, would you like to comment on that?
I don't know why. I didn't have anything to do
He
with it.
provides a lot of other services. I'll get a list of them for you.
I also have a bunch of other services providing. He's coming in and charging for software support, $2,000 in April. He's coming in here charging for email support, $720 in January, and the likes. I would not know why we have somebody here for $2,000 for software support. There's no accurate bill. There's no purchasing order for that. There's nothing. Mayor, I would appreciate if you can look at that and let us know why we would pay more than $3,500 more than we should for a service which is rather cheap this time. All right? And I will contact you in regard to the League of Municipalities answer to Katrina's news out there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Eric, I'm working my way back. You can see that.
Hello, good evening. Eric Johnson, 361 Stonehenge Drive. I have a few comments and then one request, so hopefully it won't go too long. First, I want to congratulate Lou. You made it through the primary. I know it's not easy to campaign, so congratulations to you. My first thing is a question regarding the preparation of the minutes, and it was not appropriate to speak up, so I'm going to speak up now. The minutes that were prepared, if somebody can tell me, did they get the date stamps for the video log like that was talked about last? They didn't?
No.
Okay. As a person who likes to go through the video every now and then, see if we can't get those.
I don't have it in front of me. I'll know.
Okay.
I thought
They
were
are
on
in there? Okay.
I thought they were on there. Yeah.
Okay, good. Great. Thank you for that. And I wanted to talk about the complaint regarding a resident and the tax assessment. I've seen this complaint in the news articles, and much to my dismay, I saw it on a campaign flyer. The article says, I'm going to just refresh your memory real quick. She claims the addition of a pool house, and two-story addition to Councilwoman Donna Schneider's home in 2011-2012 were not properly accounted for in the assessed value. It mentions it further on regarding Schneider's property. Building permits issued for the pool house, and fence totaled $31,220. The assessed value of Schneider's property increased by $22,800. According to NJSA 40A and 54.4 and the Handbook for New Jersey Assessors, it basically says added assessments is the difference between the improved value and the value before the improvements. That basically means you don't take the value of the improvement and just add it onto the current assessment. On page 506, of the assessment manual, it says, in a declining market, it is possible that a structural change that normally would have increased the assessed value and generated an added assessment may not. And also, on page 514, which is section 804.06. This is how you calculate an added assessment. You determine the taxable value of the entire property, including the improvement which triggered the added assessment, that is, as completed. Then you subtract the prior existing assessment, and the difference is the added assessment, not the amount of the improvements. And there is also non-taxable improvements. If I put up $40,000 of solar panels on my roof, my tax assessment doesn't go up. It's not taxable in the state of New Jersey. These are issues that concern me greatly because we're wasting resources, we're wasting tax money on defending personal tax, and according to my research, and I hope you talk about it, there's no merit. End it. Let's get this behind us. Let's put it to rest. We spent enough time on it, please. My last thing I wanted to mention, you don't need to respond to that, of course, just please think about it. We have a current policy in place, and I don't know exactly how it goes. This is how we rent our fields to outside townships, our current ball fields, Lopatcong fields. And I don't know how much we rent it for. Is it maybe for our 500? Is that?
It depends on
Right.
who's using it, how many people, how many are from the Lopat, how many hours.
Okay. Now, the one thing that concerns me, I am a soccer coach as well on the recreational commission, and it concerns me that our Lopatcong soccer director, I had a discussion with him, we have 3 fields that are not being used for 2 seasons, that we can't use for a full year. The reason why we can't use these fields, because the lacrosse team screwed them up, or it was an adult men's lacrosse team. So I have to ask, is it worth it to get $400 or $500 to take away our fields from our kids for a full year and 2 seasons? We really need to think about this. To me, it's not worth it. I want to see these fields being used by our children who are paying, $60 to $80 to play these sports. They deserve the fields to play on. And a big thing for us is Lopatcong and the LA is very proud of supporting Soccer Fest and Biddy Fest. If our fields can't be used, we lose that, and we also lose a lot of revenue. We get more than $400 or $500 from Biddy Fest and Soccer Fest alone. This is stuff that maybe we can talk about in the Recreation Commission meetings as well, but it's things we need to think about.
I can address it for you now.
Okay.
You're putting the chicken before the egg thing. The fields got ripped up. Nobody was paying for them. They were just using them. There was no rental fee. They were being ripped up because they had nothing, no security deposit, nothing. So we implemented that in order to stop it. And the decision now, it has to be in accordance. Like, it's not just here. It's not just the municipal building that can rent out the fields. They have to talk to the LAA directors to see if they think the fields can handle it. So that's why we implemented all that, because they were just being rented at no fee, no security deposit, and with no contact with the LAA. So,
right. So yeah. So if it does eventually get to the point where we think the fields can't handle it, I really hope it would stop it.
If Garrett said it has to, we have to get approval from them. Yeah.
And I'd like to say I have an idea for your $400 to $500 if I can hand this out real quick. I have one for everybody. This is our current senior field. You want to pass that out? This is our current senior field. It's a field on the left as you're in the parking lot. Our fields are in bad shape. We've got no grass at the goals. The injury you're seeing is from one of my players, a 4th grader, and these are injuries I hate to say how many times I've had to address injuries like this on my season already. Anytime somebody takes a fall, a goalie dives for a ball, they're getting scraped up and they need to be washed out and they need to be antibiotics and potential Band-Aids. It's not right. So I suggest this with the $400 or $500, depending on what kind of fix we want. Take the, not the penalty area, but just the goalie box area where the injuries are happening, where there's no grass. Let's put in permanent AstroTurf, and if that's too expensive, let's get up there and sod it, because sitting the field off for a season is not going to grow back grass when it's pure hard clay. We need to fix these fields. I don't mind helping the kids out when they get injured. I just don't want to see them injured. We've got to fix these fields, at least in the goal area. It's happening too frequently. Now, it's not an emergency because the season is ending this weekend, but the next season starts up in August. So hopefully, over the next couple months, we can figure out how to address that and get ready for the fall season. I think that's pretty much it. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sir?
My name is John Betts, and I have 2 annotations I'd like to read. The first one is something from
from our landlord at Breakley Gardens Apartments pertaining to the rent control ordinance. And our landlord is Salem Management Company, and they said, please be advised, they sent this around to us, please be advised that we have been in discussions with the Rent Leveling Board of Lopatcong Township for the past 2 years in order to modify the rent control ordinance. Currently, the ordinance does not provide any real protection for long-term residents at Breakley Gardens. Our intent is to provide lower rentals to our valued long-term tenants and maintain the quality of life that exists at the complex. To that end, we have already begun the process, but the township has not held their end of the bargain by failing to introduce this amendment in a timely manner. In order for us to continue to provide lower rental increases to our valued tenants, it is imperative that you do this as soon as possible and voice your support to this change in the ordinance. As Maureen brought up, we're very interested in that as seniors, especially over there, and also other tenants and the quality of life over there. And then one other thing I want to bring up, which probably pertains to everybody, whether you're working or you're a volunteer or whatever. It's a proclamation that was made the year of 2013, celebrating 150 years of Lopatcong's existence. It says, whereas the Township of Lopatcong, County of Warren, State of New Jersey, is celebrating their 150th birthday, and whereas the Township Celebration Committee would like to offer special recognition to volunteers, which I think everybody has done at one time. Board members and officials past and present for providing their time and resources, which has traditionally been and continues to be an elemental part, in essence, of the tradition of Lopatcong Township. Whereas the Township of Lopatcong is a people helping people, community, and volunteering of one's time and resources has been part of our heritage, which is true. Whereas it is and has been our generosity, understanding, empathy, compassion, patience, and dedication that's brought families to this community together. And whereas you are all heroes, and the residents of Lopatcong Township appreciate you, honor, and sincerely thank all volunteers for serving. And this is penned and stated by and proclaimed by Councilwoman Laura Chesla in 2013, and that's just something everybody should have to remember, is that volunteers are very important to the existence of every town, including this town.
Very true.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, John.
Brian, again?
Wait, there's a,
Oh, who else was before Brian?
this gentleman here on the
Oh,
end.
I'm sorry.
George Scherer, 32 Kyle Drive. A couple things that are in the sort of think about it category more than anything else. We got heard a presentation from Monmouth Telecom about how much money they were going to save us and how much better things we're going to get. And the savings may well be there, but I think they have to be looked at and vetted, versus see what we are actually going to be saving versus what it costs us. The thing I found interesting was that he seemed to be addressing either the benefits of redundancy and robustness. Speaking from a 40-plus year engineering background, designing equipment, working in the industry that supplied equipment to the cable TV business, I've got some familiarity with his concepts of last mile versus backbone. And as he said, he's a last mile supplier. And if that's the case, how much redundancy can he really guarantee us? Because he says he supplies our connections to the outside world. Well, around here, the outside world, its first name starts with the letter Verizon. And, if they go down, he goes down. Fiber is great. It's been a buzzword for a number of years. But the fact remains that it is still a line, whether it's a wire or a fiber, and the biggest problems are mechanical damage. And as long as we have things overhead and their part of the connection goes overhead, they're not going to be able to guarantee you much in the way of redundancy. It's just something to think about.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. The other, where probably I think the public is going to maybe want some answers, is this zoning issue. It smells an awful lot like what we're really talking about is Warren Heights wanting to expand down into Piazza and Castle Gates property. Okay. Now, I remember over the years, that developer has several times come to the town here and tried to get permission in violation of the original agreement to start building a lot of 3-bedroom units, which of course is going to raise everybody's taxes. And I suspect he may be trying this again as part of this rezoning. I think that the public would like to know is what effect is this change of zoning, if it happens, going to effect is going to have on the tax base?
That's what I'm asking the planning board to.
Okay, because part of that land is right now farmland, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
Yes.
Which pays no tax.
Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly. So it's something to consider versus what it's going to do.
Yep.
Okay. And again, think about it, sort of thing.
Okay.
And the only other thing, and it's not something that anybody's going to do anything about immediately, but it appears to me that the township does not really have any way of addressing issues where sort of pre-blighting situation where people start to let their properties run down to the point that neighboring and nearby properties are really going to find a reduction in real value, which I define as, what are they going to be able to get from a willing buyer?
Right.
Who comes and sees the condition of this house next door or behind it. Things like sections of siding falling off and being gone for years. A deck that may be falling apart, with the wood rotting away, pieces of wood falling down onto the lawn and being left there for the lawn service to throw under the deck, and it stays there for the next couple of years.
And maybe we can answer this question slightly.
Yeah.
The township has an unfit building ordinance, we have a property maintenance ordinance,
Okay.
and a high weed and grass ordinance. So if any of the conditions you're complaining of fall into any of those ordinances, I'd have to double check them, but I believe the complaint is to be made to the zoning
All right.
officer. But I would check just
Because
to
a
make sure that's
number
the
of
first.
years ago, my wife went to town hall to mention this was a different piece of property and those people are no longer there. It's no longer an issue. But this was a case of, high weed and grass situation. And my wife was told, quote, look it up in the ordinance book. Okay.
Oh, that's terrible.
That's a shame.
Yeah.
I'm sorry about
That's terrible.
Yeah, well, it was years ago. Hopefully things are moving now.
We're
Thank
trying.
Thank you.
Next, this one, no, he's coming.
Andy Warren, 13 July.
How you doing, Ed?
First of all, I want to thank you all for your work on the budget. I understand it's a very difficult process, and there was a lot of give and take, but there are a couple things. Sitting back there, my head is sort of spinning when I'm hearing disparate opinions as to what's going to be happening in the future. I hear some people saying we need to build up the surplus, which is going to necessitate likely a tax increase. Other people are saying, look, remember people on fixed incomes. My only comment in that regard would be, I'd ask if you guys, rather than almost like last minute, saying, look, we need a tax increase, if you could prepare people in advance as to what your vision is, to tell us what you want to do.
That's what I'm trying to say.
That's right. So that's why I think you all need to sort of come together with your vision as to what we're going to do in the future in Lopat, so people can prepare for that.
Sure.
I agree.
Because rather than last minute being have it dumped on people, I think that's something that would be beneficial for the public. The other part is with the fields, for Mr. Johnson. Being on the LA for a period of time, there are fields that are shut down for all the time. That's what happens. With regard to the lacrosse, one of the reasons why we have lacrosse, I think, for now, is because the LA doesn't offer it as a sport. So the kids from this have fun who want to play lacrosse. They're part of this team, it's a state-level team, but we were traveling over to Bloomsbury, Ohio, which isn't fun to do. Camille would like to have practice here. I know the fields get torn up a little bit, but I think we do have enough fields. Hopefully that would work. Okay, well, I'm going to address that. But I can tell you one of the reasons why maybe they're trying to get lacrosse here. It's not just to benefit other parents, it also benefits Lopat kids also, because they do fun.
Kenny's trying to get use of the fields at the school too.
Okay,
Yeah.
I mean,
So he wants
just,
to-
I mean, that's part of it. I mean, it's not like it's just, I don't even know, I don't know that.
Yeah.
With the other comment, I don't know if you can comment on this or not, but with regard to the appeal, I know you can't tell me what's going on with the appeal, but can you tell me where they are in the process of the appeal? I mean, I know, having dealt with that before, that you get a briefing schedule, then you get an argument schedule, things of that nature. Do you guys have any idea where the appeal is in the process? Because obviously there's certain work that goes on at certain stages. That's what the dates are. Those dates.
Yes.
I can.
I'm just trying to figure out why it would be a bigger bill.
That probably thought that is appropriate.
Absolutely, absolutely. So,
I
without
figured that
getting
might
into
be
too much
right.
into
I figured
it, there's two pieces of litigation. The ordinance challenge has been completely briefed and is done. It is in the appellate division, waiting for an answer from the appellate division judges. That's it. The other half of it, the planning board there's a briefing schedule and it is being briefed. But it is in the appellate division, and I would say in a few months, and it'll be in the same position as the other, just waiting for a decision.
That's it. Thank you.
Marla? You're next.
Marla Endick, 10 Byron Drive. A couple things. I know everyone's tensions are high, and we had election day yesterday and all that good stuff, but I just see a lot of contradictory things. Lou, the whole issue with the debt, I think the reason why that question was asked, the information brought out, is there was a lot of conflicting information. The question was just, what is the debt? I understand that your point is you have to explain all this, but it's a number. And so all that Mr. McKay, I think, was trying to do was to clarify what the number is. That's all I want to say about that. And regarding the budget, I just want to get real for a moment with you, Mr. Belcaro, on the budget. I've sat here for 3 years, and I've watched every budget meeting process for all 3 years. In 2013, I do not recall you really contributing almost anything to discussion on budget. These budget meetings were led by our former mayor, who conferred with the former CFO on occasion. Ms. Chesley was pretty engaged, I would say, out of anyone asking questions. And in the end, you had a unanimous vote of yes on that budget of 15.5%. Then in 2014, we saw a very different dynamic occur during the budget process. Once again, former mayor led the meetings, but now we had Councilwoman Schneider in her first year on council who had the nerve to question the process. She identified errors, fat, and she stated a strong belief that the process was extremely flawed. In return, she endured countless beatings, bullying from everyone sitting on the dais with her. And in the end, 4 people voted yes for an 11% increase in the budget.
3. I didn't.
3. Oh, that's right, you didn't. 3 people voted yes, a unanimous, a majority to carry the budget. Ms. Schneider voted no. Ms. Chesley voted no. Then in 2013, Tom McKay ran for mayor, and one of his main campaign promises was to bring a new and improved zero-based budgeting process to the council and the township. Under his leadership and the leadership of our new CFO, Ms. Rossetti, and Ms. Schneider, who worked very hard with the employees alongside with Ms. Rossetti, this year, we will see the biggest budget ever. But more relevant, it will be the smallest increase in 8 years. Ms. Schneider took it on the chin for a year advocating for this process, and I feel she deserves and she gets my wholehearted thank you for sticking it out. Now, for Mr. Belcaro, for you to sit now and try to take credit because in the 11th hour last month, you cut $75,000 from the roads and police a move that I don't believe necessarily is in the best interest of the township, is frankly, to me, insulting and inappropriate.
That's your opinion.
It is my opinion, and I'm allowed to have an opinion. That's the end of that comment. I have a question now, Katrina. The question is, and it's only directed to you. I want to give...
You can direct.
Oh, I can't direct it? Oh, it's public comment. I have a question for our township council. I'm going to give you a scenario.
I'm not going to answer this scenario.
Okay, you don't have to. A resident makes a complaint to a zoning officer. The zoning officer determines the complaint is valid and notifies a resident that they are in violation of a township ordinance and to cease doing what it is that they're doing that's in violation of the ordinance. The question is, can that resident refuse to abide by the zoning officer's determination? Okay.
Your transparent hypothetical.
Yes.
They did.
Okay, so if a resident appeals a decision by a zoning officer, does that mean that they can continue to do the violation until the appeal is heard? What?
It's on appeal.
It's on appeal. So they can continue to violate while it's on
They're
appeal.
appealing that they are in violation.
They're appealing they're in violation. Okay, so if...
That's all I know.
Okay, so if I want to go sell hot dogs outside the pool.
Don't answer
All right.
any more.
Okay, so if someone challenges an ordinance, which is an appeal, right? Okay, if someone challenges an ordinance, any resident can challenge an ordinance at any time, any resident in this township, as long as they say, I'm appealing it, they can continue to violate the ordinance. That's what you're saying, correct? Is that what you're saying?
Thank you for your comment.
Okay, so the answer is yes, residents, you can continue to violate an ordinance.
Brian, please, he's been waiting.
I would have liked an answer. I don't know the law.
You've authorized me to look into that issue, and I'll answer it. I have yet to be asked to look into that issue. If council would like to authorize me to research the letters that went back and forth, I would be happy to do so.
No, there's no need.
I believe the planning board attorneys.
Okay. That's why I don't have an answer.
Been that close.
Brian. Could be zoning.
I'm not. I'm zoning boy, same guy. Brian.
Sports, soccer. I'm going to tell you the way it is at this point, okay? Yes, there's 3 fields shut down. They're the small ones.
Right.
They are above the basketball court. It didn't just get shut down. No sports goes on field, okay? We saw that the fields were being destroyed. We met with the Athletic Association, correct?
Yes.
All right. We went up, walked those fields, we looked at them, we discussed. We said, where can we put lacrosse, or whatever it's called, lacrosse, or whatever it is, okay? They're rough on our fields. We went from fall soccer to all year soccer, basically, except for a couple months. All right, so they doubled what they used to do to our fields. All right, so there's no break on those, the main fields. So we started out with some change this year. All right, I sat with Kenny and a bunch of everybody else from athletics. I don't know if you guys that have kids noticed this year, but there wasn't as many ball fields played on this year. The reason why is because I don't need to maintain a field, 9 fields, because one's going to play at 9 o'clock, one's going to play at 10 o'clock, one's going to play 11 o'clock. Guess what? Play them all in one field. Let's let them rest. Let's let them grow. That's what we're doing with the soccer. We took the soccer fields. I put one up at Morris Park. I said, exactly, tell me how many teams you have, how many fields you need. I can pull it up right now if you want to see it. I have a schedule of every soccer game that went on. Baseball, soccer, football, I have it all. Okay? So there's no game in the middle.
No.
Nobody missed a game. The fields were prepared. We put one here in Morris Park, and we put the other one up there. They did not need the third one. All right? In the fall, they need it. We'll regroup. We'll figure it out. Okay? You have to let your fields go. That's exactly what you said. They're getting going. Okay? So the plan in place, as long as nothing changes, is to take either field 1 and field 2, which is the big soccer field. If you look at 3, 4, and 5, the little ones that were there, it's the exact same size as 1 and 2. It went dormant this year. So let's say field one will be the one that's dormant. It's going to talk over the field 3, 4, 5.
Right.
It will go dormant.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We get a budget. We're going to put grass seed. We're going to come in there. We're going to really bury it up. We're going to make it look, you know what I mean, in the areas that are bad. That was the goal.
Right.
Okay. But if you don't give me a chance to work on them and give me a year for growth, fertilizer and everything else, I can't give you what you want. Again, you have to work. You can't be on them 24/7 and then go, why just grass grow?
Right. No.
That's where we're at.
Field rotation.
And I'm
Yeah,
sorry
so
for
it's
not
just like a farmer.
articulating.
You don't play the same crop in the same spot. You rotate. That's really what we're doing with our field. So we're taking care of our community. We're taking care of our farm. We're still giving you your same gains. It's just your hours might have to change a little bit. I'm sorry for that, but it's in your best benefit.
Yeah, and I'm sorry I didn't mention it because I know you and Kenny have been working extremely
Yeah,
diligently.
we're moving
on
everybody
this.
anywhere and
Yeah,
everything. I mean,
I know, and that's your plan is to, and I know part of his, yeah.
Yeah, so
I appreciate it.
you know, what I mean,
Thanks, Brian. Thanks for all you know.
Juniper Lifer, 32 Jade Lane. Okay, everybody knows where I stand on the asphalt plant, so that's not going to change. Obviously, I'm very clearly and distinctly against it, and I intend to continue to help the community to fight to keep it out of our township. So far, we have kept it at bay for over 3 years, and hopefully we will be able to keep it at bay permanently. But with that said, regardless of anyone's opinion on the plant, whether you are for or against it, I find it hard to believe that anyone can see a viable reason for taxpayers to continue to fund an appeal. We have plenty of expert legal advice that has clearly informed us that the township is under no obligation to defend itself against this case. The reasoning that was continuously given to the public was that they had to defend themselves or else the asphalt company might sue them. So we must pay for this lawsuit because we might get sued and have to pay for it anyway. So I'm not sure even about that original reasoning, because it seems to me that you take the chance of not having to pay for it at all, and that's the best way to spend your taxpayers' dollars, by not spending them at all. In any event, I obviously hold myself to too high a degree of integrity because I had no idea that this had not been discussed among the council for all of this time. So I find that very disturbing. I would have assumed that there were discussions and that there was some progress made. So it's unfortunate to know that that hasn't come up. I would absolutely assume that no contract related to the asphalt plant litigation would allow an appeal without some kind of a communication to the council about moving forward on that, because that's a separate action. The plant only benefits one company. Again, whether you want it in the town or you don't, you can't really see a good reason for the township, this township. Let them fight their own battle. It only benefits one company. There really is very little justification for the township of Lopatcong to fight on behalf of that company. Okay, it doesn't make any sense. So, but clearly, we know what my opinion is. You were there at the hearings. I know you were there, so you saw what I was doing, and I saw what you were doing, Lou. So when you come here today and say words to me like frivolous lawsuit, when I know that you were in a room that was sometimes packed with over 1,000 people, and you heard the cries of the community, and you knew how visibly upset and how shaken the whole region was for that time, I just find that really to be a direct slap in the face. Whether or not you agree with the merits of the lawsuit, for you to call it frivolous when that many people who have genuine interest in the health and well-being of this community expressed their dissent, I really do think that that is disrespectful to each and every person who showed up at those hearings. And you were sitting among the supporters. And I was there too, okay? So you may not want to take an opinion now because you know that it's unpopular.
You're accusing me of supporting what?
I'm saying that I know that at the time during the hearings, you were among the people who were supporting the plan.
I was standing in.
Okay, exactly. And now
So
I am making a public comment, and I really don't want to argue. I'm just trying to make a point. I think that saying frivolous lawsuit was extremely rude. You were there. You may or may not be for the plant. We know that I'm against it, but you clearly don't want to take a position and openly say that you're for it because you do know that the community is against it. You were at those hearings and you know that. Otherwise, you would, you'd be comfortable sharing your opinion openly.
I don't care if it comes or it doesn't come.
I'm not discussing that.
I'm not defending the asphalt plant. I'm defending the process, the legality.
Okay, and that process is done,
Okay.
and now you need to justify all over again how you would continue to pay for it.
So please don't put words in my mouth.
I'm saying that when the hearings were going on at that time, we were both in the room, and we were on different sides of the room.
Right, because
That's what I'm saying.
that's where I'm standing.
So there's no changing that. There's no time machine. I don't have one. If you find one, let me know. But listen, can I finish my comment? I don't want to argue with you, Lou.
You're accusing me of something, okay? To say
I'm not
that I was
accusing,
amongst
I'm
a group of people
reflecting.
that supported an asphalt plant. I was there listening to the whole event that was going on.
This is-
Go ahead.
Katrina, can you please help me? Can I please finish my public
Mayor's
comment?
running the meeting. He can ask him to stop.
Can you do a good job and help the mayor to do that the same way you used to do that for the other mayor?
I think the mayor knows how to do his
The
job.
mayor allows
Mayor
too
doing
much
his own job.
conversation, I know, but that's democracy.
It's here.
Who's texting?
So many times, Katrina, you've told me not to interrupt
Well, you're
and
shouting from the audience.
no. When I've been up here and speaking, we've had all kinds, I mean, trust me.
Listen, I understand.
No, let me speak. Okay, I'm gonna finish my point. I think it was rude for you to refer to the lawsuit as frivolous. I think it's unacceptable. And I'm glad that you're stating very clearly that that is your opinion, because a lot of people feel that their livelihoods and the health and safety of their children and their community is at stake. So for you to feel that those are frivolous concerns is absolutely deplorable. But that's fine, okay?
The planning board and mayor and the council, what they did, not the asphalt plant. Let's make something clear here. Okay, I'm not defending the asphalt.
I don't know why.
I don't know how many times I have to repeat myself. I'm
don't you
defending the legality of it.
Can you make him stop
The
speaking so I
decision,
can finish my comment?
But you're saying I'm defending the asphalt.
No, I'm not. I said you called the lawsuit frivolous and that is disrespectful to the people of this community. That is what I said. Okay, that is, what was that? Can you just let me finish my statement? I come up here month after month after month and I present my opinions whether you like them or not, and I do it respectfully, so give me a break and hear me out. You said your piece, I'm saying mine. Let's be fair. Okay, everybody has a voice around here. Again, those same people who were for the plant at those hearings, if we're going to go ahead and reflect, those are the people who represent many business interests who have a lot of money on the line. They're the same people who are paying the people who are running your smear campaign so that you can keep your hands clean. So let's just keep it all straight. Let's make sure everybody in the room understands what we're dealing with. And the township, when you guys come to the place where you're considering paying for the litigation again, I just think you should keep that in mind. You might want to discuss it with other attorneys because I have clear legal advice that says to me that you are not obligated to continue to fund this on behalf of this company. You are not obligated to do so, and I suggest that if you don't hear that from the counsel you have available, that you seek that information elsewhere.
Well, the attorney who's suing the town has the opinion the town should defend that decision.
You're doing the same thing. We seek opinions from several places. And Maureen, for you to clap after Lou has given the speech about the frivolous lawsuit, after you were in that room full of people too. Again, even if you're for the plan, the people were concerned. That is something that was on display. So to call those concerns of those residents frivolous is incredibly disrespectful and incredibly inaccurate.
I'm not going
to.
Thank you for your comment, Jennifer. I appreciate it.
He didn't ask you to respect. If you would just let me finish my comment.
Let her finish.
Okay.
Yeah, really.
Well, you interrupted her for 2 of those minutes, so let her finish her thought, June, please.
You guys are really not giving me a break. This is not me this time. You may not like what I'm saying, but I really am being straightforward.
Go ahead. Just go ahead.
The sewer rate issue came up. I just wanted to make the point that if you keep sewer rates up so that you don't have to bring taxes up, you're really still taxing the people. You're not technically bringing the different level of tax so they can't see it up, but they're still overpaying for their sewer to pay for things that the township needs. So in the end, it's still a tax. It's just under a different name. I just wanted to clarify clarify that. Everybody needs to understand that. It may allow you to not technically raise the tax so people don't see the money that you're spending from the sewer money on other township needs, but that is what is happening under those circumstances. And at 9 a.m. on Saturday morning, the Environmental Commission is running a hike. We're leading a hike on the Marble Hill Trail, meeting at the park. Judy Liptak and Laura Novak have been working tirelessly on getting that together, so I hope you guys will join us. Thank you.
Thank you, Judy.
Well, it's the day after the election, and certainly we all worked hard on our campaigns, and yesterday the residents made their choice. I'm very thankful for the democratic process, and I'm thankful for the opportunity to run. What I'm about to present is in no way disputing the results. That's fine. What I do want to address are the actions that were taken by township employees and volunteers that violate election law and township policy. On Friday, May 22nd, I received an email from Phyllis Coleman that stated, "I was told to let you know that you can pick up 11 signs from Larkin Properties after 3 p.m., after 3 o'clock, behind the mall on Strikers Road. That has Bruno's Pizza, UPS, etc. Thanks, Phyllis." I immediately drove to the municipal building to question Phyllis. I stood at the window in the lobby, and Phyllis told me that a woman spoke to her. I asked her what was her name, and she said, "I think it was Jen." I asked her what her last name, and she said, "I don't know." I asked her, was it by email or phone call, and Phyllis said she came into the building. She came into the building, I repeated, and she said yes. Yet you don't have her last name. Phyllis continued and said, "I believe it is a Jen from Larkin." Beth chimed in and said she has a number of a Jen from Larkin that could give me, that she could give me, and I can call her directly, which I did right then and there on my cell phone in the lobby. After speaking with Jen from Larkin, who told me she had absolutely no idea what I was talking about, I then realized that the truth was not being told, and once again, the municipal clerk's office was interfering with my campaign. Rereading the email that says to go behind the mall at a certain time is kind of creepy. You get what I mean? So I was a bit distraught while standing in the lobby. Hearing my raised voice, the mayor stepped out to assist me, and I think Rachel came out as well. I told the mayor that I wanted to immediately go downstairs and file a complaint with the police. I will now read the police report filed by Sergeant Bishie and supplemented by Detective Patricia. On May 27th, on the above date and time, I was made aware via police secretary that the mayor was at the door to see an officer. Upon my arrival, I was met by a woman who identified herself as Dorothy Rizicki. That's me. She advised me that her campaign signs were being tampered with and asked if she could make a report. I advised her that it was becoming common in the township, and I would assist her, having dealt with similar incidences in the past. She thanked the mayor, who left, and I requested she come into the police station. Once inside, Ms. Rizicki showed me an email on her phone, which she sent to my police email. It was sent from Phyllis Coleman of the clerk's office and is copied herein. And it states exactly what I reiterated. Ms. Rizicki additionally supplied me with a copy of an email she had printed, which was a communication email for Lenny Tartamella, who is the Executive Vice President of Larkin Associates. The email gives permission with stipulations for Ms. Rizicki to have signs on the property. Ms. Rizicki added that there should only be 6 signs, not 11, as indicated in the email. Lastly, Ms. Rizicki provided me with a phone number, which was handwritten. The number was 908-454-0922 and had the words Larkin Trailer and the name Jen on it. Ms. Rizicki stated that Beth Diltz, town administrator, had written the name and number for her and indicated it was who called. However, Ms. Rizicki stated that she called the number and the girl identifying herself as Jen had no idea what she was talking about. I took down Ms. Rizicki's information to prepare a report and advised her I would investigate the incident further. She left the station. I went upstairs to speak with Coleman and Diltz. I found them seated at adjoining desks and asked who had supplied the information about the campaign signs. Ms. Coleman shrugged her shoulders, looked at Ms. Diltz and stated, "I don't know." Ms. Diltz also stated she didn't know.
I asked if she supplied the name and number to Ms. Rizicki, and she said she did. However, she was guessing that was who called. Ms. Coleman said it was a female named Jen. I asked her who Ms. Rizicki was supposed to meet at 3 o'clock, citing the email. Ms. Coleman corrected me, informing it was after 3, but didn't know. She later informed me contact was around 11:30 a.m. I phoned Jen with the number on the paper and identified her as Jennifer Helston from Larkin Associates. Ms. Helston said she had no idea what the incident was about other than previous phone calls she received from Dorothy Rizicki. She stated that she was in her office all morning and wished she could assist. I drove to Stryker's Crossing Plaza and immediately observed the missing signs together in the rear of the building on the north side. There were 6 signs, as Ms. Rizicki had suggested. I placed them in my trunk, noted the cameras in the area, and responded back to headquarters. It should be noted that upon leaving the plaza, I observed numerous signs of the opposing candidates still present along the strip where the signs were removed. I informed Ms. Rizicki that I would prepare a report, submit to my supervisor, and TOT the investigation to the Detective Bureau for further investigation and viewing of surveillance cameras. Ms. Rizicki expressed her wish to be notified on the status. On the following June 1st, Detective Patricia wrote, on 5/27, I followed up on initial report by Sergeant Bishey. Contact was made once again with Phyllis Coleman, who advised that she received a telephone call at Municipal Building from a woman who identified herself Jen from Larkin. She informed her that political signs were placed behind the mall and could be picked up. Coleman subsequently emailed Ms. Rizicki and informed her of the same. After speaking to Coleman, I made telephone contact with Lenny Tartamella, who is currently the owner of the property. Lenny advised that permission was given to Rizicki to place the signs on property. But unfortunately, the on-site employees must not have been aware of the changes. He informed me to contact Mike Evans, who he suspects could have been the one who pulled the signs. I responded to Larkin office located at 201 Strikers Road and spoke to Jennifer Helston, who was previously identified as the individual who Coleman at the Municipal Building. Jennifer stated that Catherine DeVos arrived at her office on May 22nd in the early morning hours. She recalled her speaking to one of the on-site employees about removing Rizicki political signs because she did not have permission from Lenny Tartamella. Jennifer advised that this employee then spoke to Mike Evans about the situation and then left the building. According to Jennifer, she never made any phone calls to the Municipal Building regarding the removal of political signs. She had limited information about what transpired after everyone left the office and appeared to be very upset that someone had possibly used her name to call the Municipal Building. While on location, I met with Mike Evans outside of the office and spoke to him about the situation. He stated that Catherine DeVos informed him that Rizicki did not have permission from Tartamella to place the signs on the property and requested that they be removed. She said, quote, I can't pull them, but you are the landlord. Put them behind the building and I will take care of the call, end quote. Evans advised that he removed the signs and placed them behind the building at this time. Later this date, I responded to 2 Sundance Way and spoke to Catherine DeVos about the above incident. DeVos advised that she was unaware that permission was granted to Rizicki. Duh. Although she admitted to speaking to the on-site employees about the signs, DeVos denied making any phone calls to the town regarding location of the signs behind the mall. I advised her to avoid any further contact with the political signs that are placed throughout the township and to contact the police if there's any questions should arise. It should be noticed that when DeVos held a position on the association board in the past, she removed several political signs from the property and admitted to throwing them in a dumpster. She stated that the association did not allow any signs at that time and referred to that incident as littering on the property. The above case is determined closed at this time. Members of council, very disturbing questions will still remain unanswered. If it's not Jen from Larkin who told Phyllis, then who? Why won't Phyllis and Beth tell the truth? Remember, it's stated in the police report that Mike Evans stated that DeVos told him, I will take care of the call. Yet, when questioned by the police, it is reported that, quote, DeVos denied making any phone calls to the town regarding the location of the signs. I believe she made the call to Beth or Phyllis. They colluded with DeVos and covered up her involvement by saying that Jen from Larkin made the call. Why can't our clerk office employees follow the freaking election laws? Don't you think that a person such as a clerk, having someone come into your office and give you a directive like that, you would at least get a full name or any other identifying information? Council, will you please direct your clerks to say something like this in the future? I understand your request. However, it is improper for me to do what you ask, given the strict election laws for municipal workers. I can give you Ms. Smith's phone number, and you can pursue with her directly, or you may speak with a police officer downstairs. That way, you are being respectful, informing the resident of your boundaries, and assisting them with several options of what they can do. Here is a script, Mr. Mayor, and I'll give it to you in this packet as an example for you to use in the hopes of establishing some kind of policy for your clerk office employees. Oh, and by the way, please be advised that the township violated the social media policy by liking a candidate's Facebook page. Specifically, Section 3, Item 9, which states, no friending or liking or other special relationship between a township account and a third person is permitted. And I have a screenshot of that Facebook page. I call upon council to further investigate these incidences and, for God's sake, make immediate corrective action to put an end to this bullying behavior by Catherine DeVos and proper protocols for the clerk's office so that this does not happen again to future candidates.
Yes. Thank you. If we're doing that too, the same thing happened to me, except Councilwoman Schneider used the police to go and ask Larkin why he only had my signs up. So if you investigate that, I want that investigated too.
I
let it go.
No, I asked
I let it go.
Okay, whatever.
I was under the impression that,
That's where you're supposed to go. No, it's not lies.
excuse me, I was under the impression if a resident comes to you and asks you to investigate something, that it is your duty to follow up on that. That's what you claim.
The police.
That's the election law sign.
She just made a request.
Yes, it's supposed to be referred to the prosecutor.
Right.
So am mine from last year.
Oh, good.
Yeah, there is a big problem with this.
I wouldn't comment on it.
No, private property too that we're talking about.
I'm not allowed to say anything.
You put a sign on my lawn, I could take it and throw it away and do whatever I want.
I guess we'll stay home, man.
It's pretty much that.
The point is that they can't lie.
How do you know that they're lying? That's her assumption that they're lying.
The police.
Yeah.
I had 120 signs.
All right, move on, please.
It's certainly not what we're saying.
So you're telling me that the council shouldn't investigate this?
No.
That what are you telling me? Let's hear it.
I'm telling you that all election issues should have been, and should be referred to the prosecutor's office.
Right.
What I was just telling you is that allegations regarding personnel should not be commented on by this council in public session. If you wish to discuss it in executive session, you'd have to send rights notices to those employees.
I'm not discussing an employee. I was going to recall that during the mayoral election, 140 of my signs were stolen. That's what happened, as a police report was filed.
And tons of mine were too, and tons of lose.
No.
It happens at everybody. Yes, it does.
140?
They don't all come back. And half of them the county took. Lou found them for you.
We found a few, and I think, we didn't fight each other. Lou is a gentleman.
I got a letter from the prosecutor. Anybody tampering with signs, will be referred to the prosecutor.
That's right.
it.
Hi. Yvonne Ridemeyer, 27 Brandon Court. I just have a quick question. I had every intention of staying while you went into second executive session. I'm going home, going to bed. What you're covering in executive session, are you going to cover the stuff that you can report on at the next meeting? I don't know how many of the public are actually going to stick around. You guys will be in executive session till 3 a.m.
I think we should postpone it to next week.
No, I have something I have to go in.
Tonight, but
Yeah.
what I was going to recommend to council is that when we go into executive session, I would list all of the potential matters that could be discussed,
Okay.
with the understanding that most of them probably will not be discussed.
And that's what I
But also
figured.
to let the public know that when we do come back out, I will again say what we did discuss, so anyone who leaves
Okay.
can watch the video or get a copy of the minutes, and they will know what.
Okay, so it'll be
was
taped or on
discussed.
video. Okay. Thank you.
We'll make sure to list them all and then list what we did, and so everyone knows.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, doesn't look like we have any further public comment. So I motion to close the public comment.
Motion.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
And I
To make a motion to go into executive.
Yeah, make a motion to go back into executive session. Motion.
Second.
For the record, the topics will be all items listed on the executive session on the written, with the exception of number 7. In addition, numbers 4 and 7 from old business, number 6 from new business, and municipal court judgment. All right, we're not doing number 4, so you can shut
All right.
that through.
Motion to come out of executive session.
Motion.
Motion.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Okay. Council was in executive session for a second time. The topics of discussion were again the LEA coach, number 2 on the written agenda, hiring of special counsel, number 3 on the agenda, contractual CBA, and number 8 on the agenda, hiring of affordable housing expert for declaratory judgment, which also included number 9 on the old business regarding COA. None of the other topics were discussed. The minutes from executive session will be available at such time as the need for confidentiality no longer exists. Absolutely. Number 1, the LEA coach. Number 2, personnel hiring of special counsel for personnel complaint filed by employee. Number 3, contractual CBA, add item negotiated but not listed in the contract. And number 8, personnel hiring of affordable housing expert for declaratory judgment. And I said that discussion technically also included I said number 9. I meant number 4 on old business COA update.
You said number 4?
No, number 4 on old business. Yes, we did not discuss number 4 on the executive session.
Regarding recusals for being discussed?
The number
You got to
2.
but they don't
Oh,
get
yes,
out without
absolutely.
this hall.
Number
No, it's
2,
not the one.
both the mayor and the clerk recused themselves from that executive session. The mayor and the clerk.
And other than that, there were no other recusals on that?
On number 2, no.
On number 2, no.
Thank you.
Mayor, with your permission, I could go over the couple items that need action, if you'd like me to. I took some notes.
Okay.
Number 1, I would just ask that someone make a motion regarding the LEA coach and authorizing myself to draft a letter as discussed with all the terms and conditions in executive session.
Motion.
Second.
Motion.
Councilman Vaccaro?
Yes.
Councilwoman McVeigh?
Yes.
Councilwoman Schneider?
Yes.
Council President Chesler?
Yes.
And
Yes.
Number 2, regarding the CBA contract, would ask someone to make a motion to amend the contract as discussed in executive session.
Motion.
Second.
Councilman Vaccaro?
Yes.
Councilwoman McVeigh?
Yes.
Councilwoman Schneider?
Yes.
Council President Chesler?
Yes.
And I'd like to just say for the record what that is, so people don't think it's something that,
Yes.
sorry, that's so the people know what it was that we omitted. Okay.
And that was number 3.
Yeah, that was number 3.
Right.
The item that was omitted under the CBA was when we negotiated the contract, after everything was said and done, printed and approved, the police team and us, we forgot to put in the armorer stipend. The armorer is a guy an officer that takes apart the guns and puts them back together, and that needs to be done to keep their weapons in compliance. So it's a $150 stipend one time for each year, one person gets it. So it's a flat $150 per year. So that was the addition. And you had to open up their contract in order to put it back in.
The third item is actually listed as number 4 on new business, and it just says, motion to join municipal consortium to hire Dr. Robert Burchell of Rutgers, not to exceed $2,000 for work related to the township's declaratory judgment action.
Motion.
Second.
Councilman Belcarro?
Yes.
Councilwoman McKee?
Yes.
Councilwoman Schneider?
Yes.
Council President Chesler?
Yes.
And
Yes.
The last item, I would ask Council President to go ahead.
Okay, I'm addressing number 2. An employee complaint has been filed which has to be investigated. The nature of the complaint is confidential as it relates to a personnel matter. The township attorney is precluded from investigating the complaint due to a conflict. Therefore, special conflict counsel needs to be retained. I'd like to make a motion to retain Lee Vartan from Holland and Knight at an hourly rate of $250 an hour, not to exceed $7,500 in his investigation.
Second.
Did we motion in second? I'd like to say something before. We don't know. We've not seen the complaint. Supposedly, none of us here have seen the complaint. And I think that's highly unusual that we're voting to retain another counsel while never receiving the complaint to see it. It's highly unusual, and I have spoken to some other attorneys that also say it's highly unusual. However, I would not jeopardize putting the township in harm's way of a potential lawsuit. So it's very unusual that we do not get to see that complaint, and I feel very uncomfortable having to vote on this having not seen the complaint.
Do you vote?
Councilman Belcarro?
Yes.
Councilwoman McKee?
Yes.
Councilwoman Schneider?
Abstain.
Council President Chesler?
Yes.
And
Yes, 15. Was there anything else that we had a?
Motion
Did
to
you clear-
adjourn.
Was there anything else? Out of executive? Okay.
Motion.
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.